to the spot. Handle business, bitch, I'll take that fucking bullet for my squad. Do or die, put up or shut up or pull up to the block. He talking high, buckshot, freezing, pull him out his socks. Free his soul from this earth, trace his body with the chalk.
We're going to get started in a minute here, folks. Number one in the chat, Borderline Feline. Yeah, Borderline, we talked about Nigel Farage. And basic gist, is... One second. Basic gist is that, of course, the Tory party is in pretty bad shape. But, my worry is that what we're seeing with the Labor Party is like a Barack Obama style, maybe even Joe Biden style neoliberalism till the very end, right? Just fucking piloting this ship right off the cliff. And Nigel, not making any major changes, to immigration, not bending or changing anything like Keir Starmer wants to. And continuing to tell people, oh, austerity. Oh, yeah, I know we said we weren't going to cut your taxes, but here we go. Or raise your taxes, but here we go. I'm raising your taxes yet again. Bend on something, Keir Starmer. The winter fuel allowance is still kicking your ass. That was something you did in month one. You thought it was going to be a no big deal, like a fucking fart in the wind, Keir. And you're still getting your ass kicked on the fucking winter fuel allowance. So, no, that's my worry, is that Nigel Farage is going to take advantage of the inherent weakness of neoliberal Keir Starmer, who seemingly can't admit that he's wrong, which is a big fucking problem. All right, 1 second, folks. It's a big fucking problem. So that's the basic gist of what I was talking about.
Natural sensitivity. A lot of times I do things that people don't understand, but it's because I'm following my intuition. My intuition will tell me, well, now do this or do that, and I do it. Sometimes it might seem ridiculous, but it always works.
And if anyone in Saugerties or that vicinity notices anything unusual in the air tonight, such as an astral sonic aria or an extraterrestrial rhythmic movement, it may have to do with the presence of Sun Ra and his 17-piece orchestra at the getaway tonight.
Oh yeah, Borderline. They're Tories without the competency, without, and you think, oh, well, they can't get any worse. Oh, no, they can. Almost ready, folks. Oh, yeah, they want to apply that MAGA template. You bet. Almost ready, folks. Born and raised up in the West. Can't you tell from the labels? Happy cougar from my chest as I see till I rest. Dual sets in X and G. Bodies counting hundreds of popping screw up in the deck. Tapes hot in the clock. Gas stashed in the dash. Kids and fools try to run up the street. They so with magic gas. Your legs separated from your hips. You can't walk. Out, line up in chalk. Body bag up in the trunk. Ain't no tax on the toes. Another victim to this own. I can tell you're trying to fake the phone. The players from the third coast, let me get it those. Hit the south side, can't believe the pole to fold. Watch
hit switches while I smoke.
Yeah.
Players from the west side, slamming Kenny those. Hit the south side.
We just been nodding our head to Dom as play it as possible. It's that full tape. Make sure you're checking out the SoundCloud, folks. This is the News Underground. I am Abandoned Nihilism. And holy shit, huh? It's really happening with Israel. Borderline Feline, number one in the chat over here. Would like to have a quick rap about the UK out of respect for Borderline Feline's loyalty. There's no other better way to put it. Loyalty from Borderline Feline. Let's go ahead and have just a quick discussion about Nigel Farage again. Because this is troubling. This is troubling. You got it, Borderline. Like I said, I mean, fuck the Tories, right? Yeah, sure. You know, turn into a party that everyone hates, right? Turn into, become even more repulsive. You know, watch me shed a tear for the Tory party, right? But no, here's the thing that worries me about Nigel Farage is that Keir Starmer is not equipped to fight this. He's like, oh, common sense. Oh, people aren't this crazy, and this guy's a lunatic, and no one will take him seriously. And, you know, it's like, oh, well, the facts are different, Nigel. The facts are different. And it's like, yeah, we're not talking about Nigel isn't talking facts. The people don't want to hear facts. The people want to hear fantasy. And let me tell you something. Leon up in this bitch. Well, I guess it is a good time to be talking about the UK really quick before we get to the main subject here. What was I saying? Anyway, my worry is, of course, that Keir Starmer is just not ready to fight this. Oh yeah, we're not dealing in a world of facts. And you know, here's the thing that these neoliberals need to wrap their head around. Populism, you don't need to run away from populism with courtesy. You know, you can lean into populism a little bit. You risk looking like a weak do-nothing if you avoid populism altogether in your messaging. And I'm not saying lie, okay, but you do need to embellish a little bit. Also, you need to bend a little bit. This whole idea, I think Keir thinks, you know, and Justin Trudeau thought this in Canada as well with the carbon tax. You know, I think the idea is that, well, if we bend on this, then it's just going to be constant, like, you know, a constant narrative of how we were defeated by the Reform and the Tories on one of our policies, you know, that if we bend on this, when during the 14 years of the Tory government, they were ducking and dodging and moving around, and we're going to do this. Just kidding, we're not doing that anymore. And we're going to try this. Oh, you guys really hated that one, so we're not doing that. I mean, remember the Hail Mary that came out of the Tory party during the election, right? We're going to totally recruit kids to be members of the army and stuff. We're bringing back voluntary conscription kind of thing, right? You know, like you could be like a Peace Corps, you know, but you can join the military early or whatever. Totally harebrained scheme, completely bananas. Drop that shit. Oh yeah, we weren't really gonna do that. So it's like, I don't know. I don't know what kind of political world Keir Starmer thinks he lives in, thinks he's working in. But it's like, if you just say, we've reconsidered the fuel allowance, we're going to get that money somewhere else. Nobody, you know, of course the Tories and Nigel Farage, we got them, we're so good. Of course they're going to do that. But the positive, the benefit from doing that is people who voted for you. By the way, we're talking about a lot of medium, middle of the road conservatives who voted Labor are going to be like, okay, cool, he listened to me, right? He listened to me. Okay? And honestly, that's the kind of shit that might keep him in office. And he thinks the exact opposite. And it's like, who's the fucking, I thought you were a professional politician. You don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know how to shuck and jive. You don't know how to pivot and move. You don't go into a battle, your arms like this, and then you don't move, and then you just stand there like a statue, while your opponent is ducking and diving, and fighting you. You don't just stand there like an idiot, changing nothing. And go, oh, well, I would win this fight if my opponent would just stop moving around and being all conniving, and it's just so dishonest how they're fighting me in this way. Surely I would win if the rules were the way that I want them to be. Me telling working class reform voters that reform wants to give an $88 billion tax cut to the rich. And Leon, look, man. Schadenfreude is great, right? It feels good. Schadenfreude, however you say it. I know I never say it right. Feels good, but it doesn't. We got all kinds of lefties in the United States. We're getting all kinds of Schadenfreude, right? I mean, the goddamn title of the stream is that the cynics were correct. Everybody, all the people that were saying, well, this guy's a complete moron, he's going to wreck the country, you're going to get exactly what you voted for. And I've indulged in that rhetoric as well, of course. But they're winning. They're in power. That it's power is the only thing that matters, right? We're like rediscovering these things that fucking like Marx was writing about. Anyway, let's get this clip over and then we'll get to the main thing here. Thank you, Borderline Feline, for completely disrailing the stream. Great job, bud.
Wiped out in the shires. I mean, here in Kent, but I mean, go up to, your Staffordshires, your Worcestershires, places like this.
Worcestershires.
Where they've always been.
Love the sauce.
The governing party. But what this result does, it continues the process of the hollowing out of the party. Their membership's been falling. The donations have been falling, and it's really the councillors.
Yeah. So, and like they're on the attack, and this, and this happened in U.S. politics as well. Like these guys are on the attack. It's shameless, and they understand the weaknesses of their opponent, and then the opponents though that they're fighting have all kinds of their own rules and restrictions about what they can do and fight back. Now, I'm not saying you join in on the corruption. But, the response is important. There's even now the idea that you can just ignore this and let it make a fool of itself. It just doesn't work because of the multi-billion-dollar propaganda apparatuses, right? The GB Newses and the like. Okay, it is an information war, and the billionaires back the fascists, and it's just Postman Pat, and his black and white cat, doo.
Keep the voluntary party
All
going,
the birds
motivated,
are singing,
organised,
day
fundraising.
is just
this is the
beginning. Pat thinks that he's a
they've
happy
been spending money on
man.
asylum seekers, they've been driving lessons, spending money on climate change initiatives, DEI courses. These are not things that county councils should or need to be doing. I haven't ridiculed it. I've said it's doing us enormous economic damage for no
Dundee
environmental
man,
benefit whatsoever.
for the perfect. Welcome back.
We produce less than 1% of the world's carbon dioxide. Consumption of coal, oil and gas is going up every single year globally.
I love that excuse as to why we're allowed to pollute. Everyone else is doing it. It's literally 5 years old, but people accept it. And who does it help? Because like switching to a green economy, that actually creates more jobs than just keeping everything the same and letting oil companies control everything. There are counter arguments to these things, and they just don't do them. Quite frankly, if I was in charge, every single video that is produced by the entire right-wing sphere that is influencing, whatever politics I'm in, right, whatever country I'm in, right, who is met with a response. Right, this is our official response to Nigel Farage's 2-minute interview in some fucking pub somewhere. Right, he says this at minute 1, completely wrong, false. He's lying to you. It's a refusal to use the bully pulpit, and I think it's a kind of arrogance, right? Well, we don't really need to. We don't need to deliver our message in such a crass way. Anyway, I'm done looking at this bloated piece of shit who very well might destroy Keir Starmer. You know, don't think this man isn't a danger to UK politics. And he is an absolute fucking nightmare. He's an absolute fucking nightmare. You've already gotten a taste of Brexit. You want more? You want more? At this point, you're the abusive wife, right? And like everyone's like, look, Sally, I don't know what to tell you. He beat the shit out of you last time you were there. And we're just going right back to his house, huh? Oh, I love him. I love him. He's so charming. You can have a pint with him at the pub. Yeah, okay, you can have a pint with him. You remember what happened last time, Sally? He removed you from the single economy and completely destroyed local businesses across the country in a myriad of other problems that you're going to be dealing with for decades. I know, but I love him. He's so charming. Really? Because he kind of seems like a grifting asshole. You're like the only one who finds him charming. UK populace, right-wing UK populace. All right. Here we go, folks. Big news. It's pretty big news, man. Israel's going for it. And why not? This is the time to do it. You know, go for it. Trump is in, he's so much in over his head. Oh my God, dude. Tom, play as possible. Let me just change the shape of this real quick. Yeah, good shit, good shit, good shit. That is Dom, play as possible. Kind of checks out since they've targeted activists before. Long leg Homo sapien, welcome back. Strategy member. Israel's on the way to speedrun an ethnic group and then moralize. I mean, that's the thing. They think I don't know how they think they can do this fast. I really don't. Wanted to just remind everybody that yesterday was the anniversary of the Ma-thousand. I think I'm saying, I looked up the pronunciation, and it was a bit of black comedy. You guys want to see something that's darkly funny? If you'll either get the joke or you won't get the joke, and there, and this is not really a joke per se, I guess, not about, but you'll see what I mean. It's just the tone.
We are looking at how to pronounce this name, as well as how to say more interesting and often confusing names from history as well. This is the name of a concentration camp in Austria. How do you say it? Mauthausen. Mauthausen.
Thanks.
Pretty straightforward ones.
You know it. You know it. Welcome back, female eunuchs, and welcome back everybody else, any lurkers that haven't jumped in the chat. No problem there. But I bring this up, that, this anniversary that was, I believe, yesterday, because we're talking about 1.5-ish, maybe 1.2 million people. Israel has killed a lot of people, but they have killed nowhere near the amount of people to avoid something like this. Because they're not talking about northern Gaza. The rhetoric isn't northern Gaza. The rhetoric is all of Gaza. And it seems pretty clear the idea is voluntary migration. There's going to be at least 1 million people or more, or okay, let's say around 1 million people to 800,000 people that are not going to do this. Gee, guys, is this person on DLive? Should we engage in a conversation with them? Fucking edgelord with the Guy Fawkes mask, asking me if I'm Jewish, calling himself a goy. Gee, should I waste my time? Should I waste my breath? Or should I just do what I do to shit? Do what I do to garbage, right? And just kind of fucking, there we go, and blah, blah. Wow. You know, because I don't have conversations with garbage before I put it in the trash, right? I don't have a long speech and a long explanation of why it's garbage before I throw it in the fucking dumpster. I just kind of do that, right? Maybe we should start doing that with people that want to. I mean, look, you know, you want to do some crypto fash, right? You want to pretend like you're a nice guy, but you want to wear the full, you know, I'm a complete dickhead uniform, and then I'm still supposed to take you seriously? No, we're just going to, oh, he's still there. Look at that. Oh, he came back up. This is like a slimy snake. There we go. Second one. You know, second flush to be safe. Like you're, oh man, I got this shit all over. All right, let's get back to it here. Once again, like so we're going to talk about Yemen, of course. That's the next thing here. But I just wanted to remind everybody this was the liberation of a concentration camp yesterday. Never again. I believe that. I hope you believe that. You know, about never again would we see this kind of devastation to any population of human beings. You know, but the cynics were right. What can we say? You know, what can we say about this? You know, and what's the plan? What's the plan, BB? Okay, you're not going to get over 1 million people to just bail, but I mean, maybe that is the idea. No, like a trail of tears, no food, and set up a corridor. So, I mean, you got to blow up, that means the IDF is going to have to blow up a wall on the Egyptian border. They're going to have to technically start a war with Egypt, technically attack them to open up, because they're not allowed to come through. God, I mean, I really don't know what the plan is, but we're going to see it happen. We're going to see it happen right in front of our eyeballs. An absolutely devastating tragedy right in front of our eyes. It's going to be something. And, you know, today is the day it starts, right? This day will be talked about in the history books, I believe, you know, an official order. This is because, like, this goes from we're responding to an emergency, we're pretending this is an emergency, we're pretending this is a response, to it's now government policy to take over this region and wipe it out completely. Wow. Wow, that is pretty offensive. That is pretty damn offensive, no doubt about it. Congratulations. Congratulations. You are a terrible human being. Congratulations. Go ahead. Boy, we're busy over there on the D-Live. I'm shoveling shit on D-Live like a fucking farmer in the morning. Currently adding... I know, right? Blessed up. They don't even waste time. Which is great. That's fine. I mean, I really prefer it when racists, you know, are right up front. Hey, I'm a human piece of shit. You should despise me, you know, to the core of your being. It's like, okay, great, no problem. I'll take your word on that. You got it. You know, honestly, like this idea, it's like they think it's a superpower, right? They think liberals, like, and they're, you know, being nice to other people is like a superpower that, you know, because they're not following that rule. But no, we can drop the shit real quick, right? We can start being mean to the right wing. It's okay. It's okay. Yeah. No. You can start being rude to them. You can cut them out of your lives. They support full-blown fascism. It does not matter if they are ignorant to what they are supporting. Oh, no, I don't. I'm not a fascist. That might technically be true. Maybe. I mean, how can you technically say you're not a fascist when you crawl over hot coals and glass to vote for a fascist party? Must vote fascism. Totally not a fascist. No, that's offensive. Anyway, and at the same time, Israel is doing this ethnic cleansing genocide. Yes, genocide. He said it, folks. In Gaza. And potentially in the West Bank, they're you know, responding to the Houthis with massive airstrikes here. I heard on Al Jazeera that a lot of the military targets are no longer available, so they're starting to hit civilian targets. I'm not sure how true that is. That might actually be, I'm not sure, yeah, how true that is. It's only okay to punch Nazis, but it's encouraged. Look, all I'm saying is it is currently illegal to punch people who identify and wear fascist symbols. But it wasn't illegal to punch that person when we were at war with fascism. So personally, I think a president should declare war against fascism. And if you want to try to tell me that a presidential candidate screaming into a microphone, "I want to defeat fascism," is somehow bad politics, okay, then I want to give you a job with the DNC, the Democratic Party. They would love to have you. It sounds like exactly the kind of common sense thinking that would get you hired by a Jen Psaki or a Donna Brazil. Harry has. I actually have not taken the time to actually go through and watch it. It's like I was saying a couple days ago. If you've been following this story like I have, and I've been following it for about 10 years now, nothing in Louis Theroux's documentary surprises you other than the just blatant, I'm not hiding it, we're going for it. we got BB wrapped around our finger. Really, that is really the only bit of new information for me, right? Because I've been talking about the plight of the Palestinian people since at least the Rachel Corrie story came out, right? That was one of the first times I was really aware of wow, what the hell's going on over there, right? The law doesn't apply to people who defy the Constitution. No, it does. It absolutely does. But I see what you're saying, yeah. But no, I think obviously it's bad, it's illegal, you can't punch anybody, even if they're a fascist asshole. But would I, as a leader, personally, make it a point to declare a war against fascism and maybe make it okay to sock somebody who proudly wears a swastika? It would have to be specific, right? You would have to you got to wear the swastika, okay? So that means people would still, if you're doing a Sieg Heil or you're wearing a swastika, okay, those would be the two, totally full-blown apparent. That would mean free speech still applies for all the white supremacists who, the Jews will not replace us, et cetera, et cetera. They would still be allowed to do those kind of things. But if you hang a flag, say, over, I think this happened was it Florida, right? They hung a flag over the Disneyland sign, a Nazi flag. You hang a Nazi, I think this happened in Kentucky, right? Black face masks, right? And they're hanging a swastika flag over the freeway. Pointy white hat. Yeah, okay. KKK. Yeah. I mean, is that technically, I mean, it's pretty, you could argue that's fascist, obviously, the KKK hoods. I would seriously consider it. R Factor NYC. But I don't see a problem. I'm being straight up about this. I don't see a problem with a United States politician passing a law that says we are, declaring war on fascism. It is illegal. And, and people and citizens that take it upon themselves to get aggressive physically with people who are identifying as fascists and are displaying fascist symbols. Yeah, I mean, it's such a slippery slope, though. It's such a slippery slope. But honestly, we're in some hot water here, and we are under attack by fascists. That I don't see a problem with those, you can't kill them. You can rough them up, but it's like, how do you make that legal? We're already in crazy town. Why not get a little crazy with it? Look, when I see somebody proudly wearing the swastika, I am filled with a murderous rage. Okay? That is a personal bias of mine. When I see unapologetic fascists, right, displaying the symbol and walking about freely, I am filled with hatred. And, I would make that totally clear if I was ever running for office. you know, and I would be like, I would seriously consider this kind. I know, call me crazy, right? Call me totally insane. Like he wants to make, wait, so you want to make violence legal? Very specifically, and a very specific kind of violence. But it's like all of this can go completely off the rails, right? What happens, of course, when a citizen punches a Nazi and then the Nazi dies? Technically murder, but is it? Right? Not exactly losing world scholars over here, right? But it's like, okay, we can't really make murder legal, can we? Well, we did though, right? When we fought the Nazis during World War II, we made that shit legal, right? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? Or was there a period in time, kind of recently, where if you killed a Nazi, right, you'd be getting applause? Not like, was that morally correct? I don't know about that one. That's a tough one. Right? Straight up murder. So this is a tough one that'll probably get me banned if I continue to talk about it. I'm just saying, fascist ideology is inherently violent, right? To say you are a fascist says I plan on hurting people. At a minimum, hurting, right? But of course, the idea is to escalate further into eradication. Okay, that's why I never think it's fair to compare communism to fascism. Right? It's not the same two sides of the same coin here. There's no the communist ideology. There's no guarantee that you're going to be murdering people. Of course, that's usually the direction it goes. But you get what I'm saying, right? There's no avoiding it. If you say I'm a fascist, that means you want to hurt and kill people, right? There's no tiptoeing around that, right? So it's one of those things. It's like, what would we do in society if we had people like, wear a T-shirt that says I like killing people, and like they tried to kill people as often as they could, right? They would do it in secret, and it's like, they get up to shit, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm part of the group. Yeah. You just got to let me do this. Yeah, you just got to let me live here and do this. What can you do? Lynch mobs were so that's the slippery slope that I'm talking about, right? Maybe what I would do is declare war on fascism and then deputize ass beaters is what I would call them, right? Who were, trained specifically on kicking a Nazi ass but not killing anybody, and everything would be like, they'd have a special uniform, right? It would be great. It'd be the exact opposite of a Nazi uniform. It'd be like chill shorts and a T-shirt, right? And like fingerless gloves. That would be mandatory. Fingerless gloves and fucking sick ass 80s sunglasses. And the T-shirt would say ass beater with like an anti-Nazi sign, right? No, not. It wouldn't be silly. It wouldn't be silly. Look, because there's dudes ready to rock, right? There's dudes in America ready to rock. And if the president says it's your job to kick any Nazi's ass that you see, here's your government mandated T-shirt, sunglasses. Welcome to the ass beaters brigade. That's the way to handle it, right? Here, and then they're trained. And then they're trained on how to properly beat Nazi ass, okay? They'll be called in, like all cool, like with helicopters and shit, like fucking G.I. Joe, dude. Oh, yeah, no, we got Nazis on an overpass in Kentucky. Send in the ass beaters. Send them in. Let's go. No, it'd be ASS. It has to somehow spell out ass. R Factor NYC. That is how I would do it. Okay, so we're this is how you build policy. Okay, folks, this is how you spitball it. You sit at a table, you figure out the nuts and bolts. Oh, this isn't going to work. That's a slippery slope. How could we do this? I would deputize American citizens into my ass beaters brigade, and I would send them into hot Nazi zones. Places where Nazis like to hang out, and they would be allowed to beat some Nazi ass. You fucking right. Vote for me, bitch. Tell me you wouldn't vote for me. Tell me that wouldn't get some applause at least. Maybe you're not voting for it because you have common sense. That'd get me some applause, man. That'd get me some crowds like Bernie. That's what I'm saying, blessed up. California. And I was born in Michigan. Let's get to the news.
To Sana'a-based journalist Hussein Al-Bukhaiti joining us from Sana'a this hour. Thanks for your time. First of all, can you tell us how much damage has been caused in Sana'a as a result of these strikes?
The strike that has been conducted today has focused on Sana'a airport. More than 15 airstrikes have targeted several areas inside the airport compound. And as well, they have targeted the two main power stations, one south of Sana'a and another one is west of Sana'a. And as well, some power generators in around Sana'a. Nice, they have as well targeted the cement factory in Amran city, north of Sana'a. We know that the Israeli has conducted a few days ago as well another attacks against a cement factory in Hudaydah, east of Hudaydah city, and
Office of Special something. Is that what the OSS? They were sent out on special missions. The OSS wasn't the person you're playing as in Medal of Honor for PlayStation 1 an OSS member. R Factor NYC. No shit, yo. Yo, he's a real one. That's a real Nazi ass beater right there, boys. Hell yeah. Your dad was OSS. That's a real Nazi head cracker. Office of Strategic Services. Interesting stuff. But no, those were the guys that they sent out with like, okay, we want you to hit this, blow this up, hit this bridge. Yeah, those, and like, you didn't get into that position by being a slack-jawed yokel. You got in there by being an effective soldier. So, what an honor. That is so cool, bro. That is actually really cool.
Here in Yemen, they are saying the government of Yemen has announced just a few minutes ago, they said despite this attack by the Israeli regime on Yemen, Yemeni will not stop their attack and they will continue and might expand their attack against the Zionist regime. And the only way that Yemen will...
What do you think your dad would say about my ass beaters policy? Would he be a nay on the ass beaters policy, or would he be a hell yeah on the ass beaters policy? Because I got a feeling, there's a lot of real motherfuckers in this country who fucking hate Nazis. I mean, hate them. And the fact that they get to walk around with, Nick Fuentes with their fucking shit-eating grins. Someone call in the ass beaters, right? Someone call in the guy that's allowed to beat a Nazi ass, right? I can't touch you. I got 10 minutes for the ass beaters get here. You better hop in a U-Haul and get the fuck out of here, fash boy. I legally can't kick your ass, but the ass beaters are on their way, bro. Paid $80,000 a year just to be ready to kick Nazi ass wherever you are. That's the pledge you have to take. I will drop everything and hop on a helicopter and listen to Metallica as I'm blasting in to a fucking shithole, right-wing shithole, to crack some Nazi skull, bro. I'm not saying go in Wolfenstein, right? We can bloody a nose.
Stop is when the Israeli will stop their attack and the genocide and the killing of the Palestinian people.
So how are we to understand that statement? How are we to understand that statement? And how are what are the Houthis' options going forward in the short-term future?
I believe that in a response to his attack today on Sana'a, I believe that in the coming hours, the Yemeni army might launch a major attack against Israeli.
But we got to give them a chance to repent. We got to give them a chance to get back in the Nazi closet. That's why it's just an ass beating. Right? You can be a fash. Be a fash in your little room with your little computer. Doing nothing. Don't be walking the streets with a fucking swastika around your arm. You're gonna get your ass beat.
ports, Israeli Ben Gurion airport, because they have announced a few days ago here in Sana'a that airport
Strategy
will be
member is
closed. And I believe that at this time, after this huge attack against Sana'a, Yemeni might launch attack not only using one ballistic missile, they could launch dozens of ballistic missiles and as well drones and cruise missiles. And if we see that the latest missile that hit inside Ben Gurion airport, it was a new type of missile that Yemeni has used for the first time, because in the statement of the Yemeni army, they has not mentioned the name of the missile. They always actually do mention it's either Palestine 2 or Dul Ghifar ballistic missile, but this time I believe the Yemeni has entered the new types of missiles, which has successfully actually to penetrate the Zionist state air defense. We know that they have 3 layers of air defense, and as well 1 layer of air defense with the Patriot THAAD US missile defense missiles.
Let me ask you this, Mr.
Bukhaiti. Yemeni now is capable of having those missiles.
Mr. Bukhaiti, let me ask you this. I mean, as our correspondent was saying just a moment ago, what the Israelis might be trying to do is
that's his shirt. He's got some weird design. He's got some weird, is that like a 3D design? It almost looks like there's a jug hanging off his shirt like a video game or something. This is good weed, man. I don't know what the fuck is up with the shirt. I'm tripping here.
Trying to pressure the environment, right? And when they strike the Hodeidah port, for example, that's about 80% of the food aid and the humanitarian aid comes into that port from Hodeidah.
He's got like, it's like a pocket. It's got like a zipper. This is so cool. Look, I'm doing the best I can to ignore the horror of this entire situation. We know what's happening, right? I know you're looking for news commentary, not fashion commentary from an idiot. This is a total disaster, and I guess the question we should be pondering is this overextension, and is Donald Trump going to back this to the hilt? While his economy is crashing, people are getting super pissed. Things are just now starting to break. All the stuff that Elon Musk broke. We're talking about cutting Medicaid, Medicare, in a big, beautiful bill. That's probably not going to pass, immediately. There's probably going to be all kinds of resistance, even from the right. And then, of course, we got the motherfucking midterms. And Donald Trump's like, well, have we done enough to secure it yet? Have we done enough to steal it? We got to make sure to steal it. People hate my ass. They hate me. No, he doesn't. That's not what he thinks. So I shouldn't. He'll never acknowledge that people hate him. What do you mean? People love me. People fucking love me.
So the Houthis, many would say, are more isolated than ever. They're standing alone. And Israel feels like it can do whatever it wants, whenever it wants. So doesn't that change the calculus for the Houthis?
To be honest with you, the Yemeni army, they called them the
Houthi. Dagger. Okay, it's his sacred dagger. Oh, okay. I didn't know homies wore their sacred dagger like on their front like that. I was wondering what the hell it was. It's a sheath for his dagger that he's wearing up front. They usually wear it on the side. This guy puts it right up front. Wow. Okay, I didn't know that was a thing.
They are not standing alone in this fight. Even though in Yemen we has been fighting each other, it's the first time that all the Yemeni actually are united behind the Houthi and Yemeni armed force attack against Israel, because the only one thing that unite all Yemeni is Palestine, and Yemeni has been always with the Palestinian people. And regarding this port, we remember that this port has been closed for many years during
it's a ceremonial dagger, but they are allowed to defend themselves with it if their lives are in danger. I think there's like a special rule. But if you use your dagger to hurt somebody or to just like pull it out and threaten somebody, it's like a big deal. Like, do not do that. But I think you are allowed, like, if your life is like in danger, to pull that shit out. Pretty interesting history with this. It has a name. There's a girl who works at the Timmy's that I got my milkshake at. She's like, making sandwiches with her dagger right on her side. It's pretty cool. Jagmeet Singh, who just stepped down from the head of the NDP, he always has his dagger with him. Pretty cool, Pretty cool. If you want me to be a Christian, maybe I don't know, make it cool for me to wear some weapons and stuff. That'd be cool. I don't know. I'm just saying. Get me interested.
the Saudi-led war and aggression by Saudi and United Arab Emirates, and as well it has been bombed tens of times, and Yemen has come under 300,000 of Saudi and UAE airstrike, which was supported directly by the United States and Britain. Did that stop Yemen from launching attack against Israel? Did that affect the capability of Yemeni army? No, it actually hasn't. And instead of Yemen at that time being under blockade, now they are the one who forming a blockade against Israeli in the Red Sea, and as well they are the one who are facing the United States. So they are used to this type of attack. We know the last few months United States have launched thousands of airstrike against Yemen. The Israeli themselves, they have bombed those power station and as well Sana'a airport many times. Did that affect Yemenis? No. They said clearly here in Sana'a they will only stop their attack against Israel if they will lift the blockade, stop the genocide. And this demand is not only the demand of Yemen, it's the demand of the international court, it's the demand of the United Nations, of Oxfam, of Amnesty International, of human rights groups. So what Yemeni actually doing, they are trying to implement international law.
This guy does make a good point that technically Yemen and the Houthis, with all of their terrorism of ships, you know, they might be doing more to enforce international law than the Western alliance that claims to care so much about humanity. That is kind of a good point.
By forcing Israel to stop the killing of the Palestinian people and to lift the blockade.
Okay, we will leave it there.
Damn,
Hussein
really?
Al-Bukhaiti, you're a Sana'a-based journalist.
They're strapped, huh? They're ready to go. My religion asked me exactly, Tisrael. Got no choice, man. Yep. Person Monday, Friday, whenever I'm outside, personal shrine to anti-tank weaponry. I got no choice. It's actually a huge burden. I hate carrying my super sick, cool ass rocket launcher. I mean, it would suck to have to carry a rocket launcher everywhere. That would fucking suck. Wolverine claws, though, you know. Sorry. Yeah, I know I work in IT, but okay, look. Sorry, where I go, the Wolverine claws go. It's really important. These were given to me by my grandfather. So, sorry. So just more, you know, they're calling in the reservists, you know, they're making this government policy, they're no longer tiptoeing around it, you know. I do agree, Tisrael. You're not going to ignore the N-word with a rocket launcher. No way. But no, this is really happening. This is really super duper happening. It's official policy. There's no more debate. There's, you know, and it's interesting, right? Because it's like I've said before, everything that Israel does and everything that the defenders of Israel do, it's all about buying time. It's all about buying time. There's really no other way to put it, right? And the cynics were correct in that, like, this is just them delaying it's obvious what they want to do. They want to take it. I mean, you know what I've noticed is that mainstream media is interviewing official members of the Israeli government and official members of the IDF far less frequently. Even BBC and LBC, who would almost always, you know, cut to a representative for Israel. Okay, can you give us your lies on this? So you very clearly, hit a aid worker's truck that was clearly labeled. You very clearly executed them and dumped their bodies in a mass grave. But go ahead and, lie freely for 5 minutes on the air and tell us how you didn't actually do that. And they're actually members of Hamas and et cetera, and it's all justified. They're doing that actually a little bit less. They're giving Israel less opportunity to just say, oh, no, don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe, forensic evidence. Don't believe any of that. We're the most moral army in the world, and everyone that we kill are terrorists. We've actually, I think there's even some people from who represent Israel that still say that they haven't killed a single innocent person. There's some that really take it a little too far. Every minute they buy, they can kill more civilians. Well, it's, kill or remove, annex, I think they don't mind either way. But if you're going to be killing hundreds of thousands of people, what are you going to do with the bodies? You're going to have to get the death factory out, right? You got a massive cremation operation. You can't bury 500,000 people.
לכן צריך להבין, אנחנו במלחמה, לא סיימנו את המלחמה, אנחנו נסיים אותה, אנחנו נשיג ניצחון מלא בעזה, מוחלט.
Absolute, total victory in Gaza. Okay. No longer Hamas, right? We've dropped that. It's not about Hamas. Now it's just Gaza. And once again, we need to talk about how Bibi Netanyahu, he did this so successfully, people don't even notice it anymore. But he successfully divided Palestine into two different countries, installed a leader into the country into the region that he now calls a country that he wanted to steal. Installed a bunch of useful idiots that built up their strength long enough to then do an atrocity that has allowed him to completely take over the region now. He's a monster, Bibi Netanyahu, but he's actually really, really good at this. He's actually really, really good at this, and he's played the whole world as like a fiddle. I mean, do you ever notice how you do that? We don't talk about Palestine sometimes, right? We talk about Gaza, and it's identified as its own country with its own leaders. And everyone's just kind of accepted it, And now here it is, this country that's been created, kind of similar to Russia, what's happening with Ukraine, right? But now this region is getting liberated, or whatever language they want to use. Yeah, it's Israel. It's a big boy. Yeah, strategy, sure. Some calling to go even further? I mean, what are you talking about? To implement President Trump's plan. Great job, Trump. Great job. No, but I'm really not surprised to hear this because, yeah, that's Trump. These guys have to catch up to Trump. These extremists, these massive xenophobic extremists, they actually have to catch up to Trump's callousness, and that's what we see here. To remove 1.5, 2 million guys. Like I said, it's a little bit less now. How many have they killed? Close to 100,000?
עזתי מעזה, יש שיח מאוד מעמיק, וצריך אגב להשקיע בזה ולעבוד בזה, כדי לייצר אלטרנטיבות של מדינות אחרות.
Yeah, so we got to find alternate countries for Gazans. Ironically, this is the second time the Palestinian people have been forcibly removed from their country and dumped somewhere else. It's really something else, man. I think that's probably why they were chosen by the British for this experiment. Seems just like yesterday they were committed their first war crime. They grow up so fast. Yeah. I mean, well, technically, Israel was committing war crimes pretty early into its existence. Applause. Applause in the crowd. Right. It's cute. Welcome back, Krail. And look, I don't want to be grim because I would like to see the hostages freed. But I'm pretty certain that if a full-blown military invasion happens, we will probably see some public executions of these hostages. You know, maybe in one of these tunnels that still remains, they'll do some kind of ceremony and I don't know, because like, what else do you do? At that point, we're not using the logic of people who care about human beings. Remember, we're talking about Hamas. We're talking about monstrous terrorist organization in way over their head, useful idiots, brutes, who have been smart enough to take good care of the hostages. I have evidence right here, from several different women who were held hostage by Hamas and then released, making the same statement. I wasn't raped. I wasn't touched. Fuck, they put a hijab on me and they touched me with towels because it was sinful to touch me. They fed me the same food. that they were feeding. So they're going to go from this treatment generally to being brutally executed. And the entity that has to be talked about, that is to blame, will be the actions of the IDF and the decisions made by Bibi Netanyahu. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's good. Obviously. But what is the logical conclusion of what's going to happen to the hostages here? You know what I mean? Yeah, Eldon. Yeah. And that's not giving credit to Hamas. That's just speaking objective fact from eyewitness reports by people, women specifically, at least 3 in this video that I have here next, that said specifically and unequivocally, I was not touched, I was not raped, I was treated, So that's not me trying to defend anybody. That's just me speaking objective fact. Now, does that mean every single woman hostage was treated that way? I don't know. Right? You're allowed to throw in that doubt, right? Because Hamas, like, the whole thing is a scattershot operation. But they do, I have yet to see a single video of a female hostage released by Hamas make a statement clearly into the mic that says, I was sexually abused. I haven't seen that yet, so please provide that video, right? If you're going to say that that's what, that's okay, because that doubt is there, of course. I mean, you can't remove that doubt. These guys are fucking brutal monsters.
אני קורא לרמטכ"ל, אסור לך להורות על מבצע צבאי שיביא בהכרח לרצח חטופים.
Yeah, that's exactly what these guys are talking about. It's like even the, it's a disgusting kind of common sense, right? It shouldn't be this way, but welcome to the human condition. That's part of the deal of hostage taking.
הם נאצים, ואסור לתת להם גרגיר אחד מזון, לא רק לא לתת להם, אלא להפציץ להם.
So at the top, we're hearing Ben Gvir talking about how we need to murder and starve children, and we see at the bottom the government policy enacted to do just that.
את כל מאגרי המזון, אצלם אם לחטופים שלנו אין אוכל, שלנאצים לא יהיה אוכל. נאצים לא צריכים חשמל, צריך להפציץ להם את כל הגנרטורים.
Right. So what we're looking at is a extremely malnourished child. The process of recovering from extreme malnutrition is a painful one because your body has to readjust to receiving nutrients again because it's so used to pulling nutrients, from the muscles and other things. In fact, there's still a very real possibility that a person in this condition can die, even if they are currently receiving nutrition and whatnot, because their body has degraded too far. So it's really quite tragic. Okay, this is Al Jazeera, so they're probably going to show some pretty extreme stuff. We were just watching a child getting pulled out of a destroyed building. Israeli minister says Gaza will be entirely destroyed. This is 7 hours ago. Welcome back, Pun Pun Pa. I would much prefer to talk about Ukraine, kicking Russian ass than Israel blowing children away. I tell you what. Maybe that's a dark thing to say, but I really find this murder of children to be quite distasteful. Even in a dark world of murder and violence, it still cuts to the bone.
Since the fragile ceasefire collapsed mid-March, Palestinians have been subjected to near-daily airstrikes. Hospitals like this one in Jabalia continue to receive an influx.
In fact, that last major attack, I think there was I believe I heard a 5-year-old child from Ukraine dying. So it's happening there as well. But I mean, this is targeted, you know. I mean, as disgusting as, you know, Bucha was a good example of Russians directly killing children, you know. But I mean, they're not shooting kids every single day and doing it by the dozen, you know. As horrible as the Russian military is, and they are absolutely horrible. They could be committing buchas all over the place in Ukraine, you know, if they wanted to, but I guess they don't have the resources or time. As I said, I ran out of tears. Now I just sit there blinking. Yeah, you do get traumatized.
Of wounded and killed. Now, the Israeli army is going to intensify its offensive and plans to conquer the Gaza Strip.
Gaza's population will be moved for its own protection.
The announcement made by Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Monday has rippled throughout the international community. France's foreign minister called the new military campaign unacceptable.
The Israeli government is in clear breach of international law and international humanitarian law.
While the UN has urged utmost restraint.
This will inevitably lead to countless more civilians killed and the further destruction of Gaza.
But the United States still stands staunchly behind its ally, and President Donald Trump says his office is ready to help.
People are starving, and we're going to help them get some food. Hamas is making it impossible because they're...
You know, he doesn't mean to be... He's just so naturally evil. He doesn't even realize how disgustingly clever it is to reshape the defense of this atrocity as humanitarian. You know what I mean? To be like, we got to go in there. We're annihilating their entire way of life to save them. They're starving to death because Hamas is taking all the food. It's just, you know, I think liars in the future will, you know how, you know, people who, you know, if they're in the military, if they're in like commanding, you know, there's certain pieces of literature that they have to study, you know, the art of war, et cetera, et cetera. Napoleon, right? You research some of the most brilliant people who've done it so well. I think in the future, professional liars, right? Machiavelli will be on their list, but I think Donald Trump, and just because he is a true savant. He is a true savant at corruption and lying. You know, he really is. It's brilliant. It's brilliant. Reframe the whole thing as a humanitarian thing, and lie to people that Hamas is stealing all the food, knowing damn well that Israel is the one holding the food back, and Israel is the one turning this into the nightmare that it is. One thing is clear: Israel will not be leaving Gaza. No. And, you know, I've been saying, I thought Israel was maybe going to start using the settlers, you know, but no, I mean, this is really the only way to do it properly because there's just too many people. You can't depend on the settlers. They'll get their ass kicked. There's thousands of people. The only way to do that's with your military. The weave. I mean, that's something different. That's him trying to be clever. The weave. That's when he's trying. But this kind of shit just comes perfectly natural, man. Just like water off a duck's ass, dude. Just flows out of him like McDonald's.
Taking everything that's brought in, but we're going to help the people of Gaza.
As part of the escalation, Israel's Security Cabinet also unanimously approved plans to put the army in charge of food and other goods in the enclave. However, for more than 2 months, they have barred any supplies from entering, and rights groups have decried the humanitarian crisis that has pushed thousands of children to the brink of death from starvation. While Hamas, for its part, has said it will not be continuing ceasefire negotiations as long as Israel's, quote, hunger war continues in the Gaza Strip. In Jerusalem, too, there is discontent. More than 70% of Israelis say they do not trust the current government, and hundreds protested outside the Knesset on Monday night. Some argue that the war is continuing so that Netanyahu can keep his job.
Are there disgusting? Absolutely. What else do you want me to say? Right? Are there any freaks who have been following the Ethan Hassan bullshit? Are there any freaks right now that are watching that could tell me exactly what Ethan is saying about this. Is that it? Yeah, selective. It's so funny. I didn't even know this was here when I was bringing this up. This is Ela Klein. She's an ex member of the IDF. Here's a 1 hour long video about Ela Klein's selective outrage. I don't know if someone could tell me exactly what kind of excuses Ethan Klein is making right now, I would. You would be my favorite person, because I'm just kind of curious. I know I shouldn't be, but I'm just a little curious about how, because Ethan, he's on his soapbox, and he's and everyone thinks, everyone really, because Hassan is such a fucking joke, everyone thinks Ethan actually won that debate. At least enough people do to where that's kind of becoming the buzz. So he's on his high horse, and then, Israel over here. Oh, yeah, no, by the way, we're actually totally occupying Gaza, because I think he's still coming from from the area of, we're defending ourselves. And this is this is just normal stuff. This is how countries react when an overt, terrorist operation is being enacted on there. Right? He swallows the bullshit whole, right? So now here it is. It's like, laid bare, laid naked right in front of us. Oh, yeah, no, we're taking this. That's what this was about. Hey, Ethan Klein, I would recommend you look into the connections between Hamas and Bibi Netanyahu next. You might want to open that can of worm a little bit wider. Might as well. Okay. We were correct. Okay. This was never about terrorism. This was always about colonialism. Okay. It's more advanced, right? It's not this Russian style march on in and just take it kind of thing, right? It's way more complicated. But I do recommend looking into some of what the skeptics that you've been fighting against so hard. I do recommend you looking into what some of them have been saying, instead of just dismissing them outright as Jew hatred or whatever excuse you use, right? The cynics were correct, and that means defenders of this current situation were incorrect, and that means you. It's hard to hear. It's hard to hear, right? Dummies like me who have been completely destroyed by life. I have no problem being told, "Oh, you were completely wrong, bro." Way off. I have no problem hearing that. And in fact, nothing would fill me more with joy if Israel were to go in there and start rebuilding Palestinian homes and moving Palestinians back in and feeding Palestinians like Donald Trump is pretending is going on. I would be the first. I'm talking the first. Okay, I'd have my tent and my sleeping bag like I'm waiting for the PlayStation 3. I only did it once. Okay, I would be first in line to admit, oh wow, okay, I thought this was genocidal intent. No, this is Israel taking it upon themselves to occupy the Gaza Strip, to make sure that the Palestinians are safe from Hamas, so that they can do rebuilding and actually build a safe society for Palestinians. Do we think that's what's happening? Come on. To answer your question, what did the cynics say? The cynics have pointed out from the very beginning that this was an effort to conquer Palestine. This was, the Gaza Strip specifically. This was an effort to take the entirety of the Gaza Strip. And if you want to try to tell me that October 7th is justification for the complete annihilation of the Gaza Strip and for Israel to take it over and to move Israelis in, I'm going to call you a fucking dictatorial monster. If you don't like to hear that, too fucking bad. I don't, I really don't know what else to say to you, Yes, I support, as a response to an attack, I support the complete annihilation of an entire people, country, and culture. That's what I support. Okay, that... It doesn't give you the justification to completely annihilate him October 7th, okay? It was a tragic atrocity, a miscalculation. Like I said, Hamas are useful idiots for Bibi Netanyahu. Might want to look into that connection. So anyway, here is that video I was talking about. 3 women who were held hostage by Hamas, who have made, eyewitness statements in front of a camera saying, I was never sexually assaulted. And like I said, I am eager to see, there's got to be at least one hostage that, maybe they're lying or otherwise, but, there's got to be at least one video of one hostage saying, oh, I was, gang raped every day, that kind of stuff, right? Because that's when you see the pundits, the pro-Israeli pundits, on TV, that's the insinuation that they're making, is that, oh my God, your worst imagination come true. It's the Marquis de Sade in every fucking tunnel. You wouldn't believe it. It's just the worst, right? That's their implication. So surely there's at least one video of at least one woman who was held hostage that's like, oh, it was just a complete nightmare, yes, everything that you've heard is true. All I've seen so far, and maybe that's my own bias, but all I've seen so far are statements that are kind of like this, where it was like, yeah, I mean, it wasn't great. I'm being held hostage, but they didn't abuse me. I was fed, and in fact, we've heard hostages say most of the time when I was in mortal danger, it was because we were being actively bombed by Israel.
Even if they didn't have that intention, now they might have, and I'm half naked, so...
You're worried about rape?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was worried to get raped.
Yeah, of course.
And fortunately enough, they didn't do it.
She was given a hijab that covered most of her body.
I got a very strong feeling, this is that fabric is my only protection.
הורדות ידיים.
כן.
את ואני עשינו, ואז אני ניצחתי אותה. ובגלל שהגם כל הזמן עושה כושר, אמרו, רגע, אם חי ניצחה אותה, אז בוא נעשה איתה. ואז אחד מהם, הצעיר, עשה איתי הורדת ידיים, אבל הוא הביא מגבת, כדי לא... כי אסור לו לגעת בי.
אישה היא מאוד... אישה היא קדושה שם.
אישה היא מלכה. היו עושים לי שיחות איך לשמור על אגם. הסברנו להם שגם אצלנו לפעמים כן יש... שלאדם יכול להיות חבר, או יכולים להיות לה כמה חברים לפני שהיא תתחתן. אני אפילו מעודדת את זה, שהיא תתנסה, שהיא תכיר, לפני שהיא אצלה מוסד הנישואים. אבל היינו מתאמתים על זה. תחת להגנה, כשהגענו לשם, קודם כל אמרו לנו שהם אנשים שמאמינים בקוראן, והם לא יעשו לנו רע, אלא את אותם התנאים שיש להם בתוך המאמין. דאגו לכל הצרכים, ויאמר לזכותם, היו מאוד נדיבים, והשתמרו שאנחנו נהיה נקיים, שאנחנו נאכל, אכלנו את אותו אוכל שהם אכלו.
Now, so those are those statements there. Now, I would like to just interject one more time, playing devil's advocate for people that would say, well, maybe they're lying to protect the people that are still there. I mean, that's a possibility, but is that really going to be every single one of them? So I'm just trying to be upfront here. I still haven't seen, there's certain stuff that's stone cold true about what happened on October 7th. And there's a lot of stuff that happened that is just like,
cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
You're not allowed to talk about it. You're just not allowed to bring it up, man. I wanted to show this video here because I say this without zero pleasure. I don't think this is cool. I don't think this is funny. I don't think they deserve it. But I would like to remind the Israelis that are about to participate in this ethnic cleansing campaign that you may think you got the nuts. You may think you're Rambo. You may think you're going to be okay with killing men, women, and children. And sometimes, you're sick enough. Sometimes people are sick enough into the head and they can rationalize it and, and it's fine. And, they'll moralize it or justify it. They're able to do that. Some of us can't turn off empathy. Even though we love our country and we love everything else about it, and and we're still aligned with the mission, there's still no avoiding the damage that what you are about to do what you have been doing, but what you're about to really double down on is going to do to you, the soldier. Okay? Just thought I would show this here and remind people that war has its consequences, and they're unavoidable. You know, human beings, everyone has their snapping point, even the strongest amongst us. Just adjusting the volume. I'm going to increase the size, actually, of this video because the subtitles are so incredibly small. So just give me a second here. Sorry about the unconventional nature of this one, but here we go. Hopefully you can see that a little bit better. I'm going to go ahead and start over from the beginning. So he's just saying, right, I killed like 40 people. I murdered. I'm going to go ahead and turn this down just a little bit more because he's, you know, you get the point. Very passionate. He's saying he pisses the bed. He's saying he's seeing the images of the dead Palestinians in his dreams. And he's like, I was a loyal soldier. I went in there, man. You know, I wanted to give. And let me tell you, they'll take. They give, you give and give and give, and they take and they take and they take, and they don't stop. They don't stop. Right? You think you think you're going to be done in Palestine? Your ass is headed straight to Iran or Yemen. You know, this is what warmongers do to their soldiers. You know, Napoleon had some of the most loyal, down to ride motherfuckers possible, and he drove those men like donkeys. He made them march till they puked. And if you would run away from the column, you'd be shot in the back. You know, that was loyalty. That was Napoleon's loyalty. And what did you get for it? You got a cold, dead grave. If you were lucky, you had your name remembered. So it's like, it's not consequence-free. I understand that Israel is like, you know, of course, they're going to win. Of course, they're going to, you know, they're going to achieve their military goals. But you don't just get to walk away victors and then, you know, on to the next victory. Like, it really doesn't work that way because, you know, to achieve these goals, you have to commit inhuman atrocities. We'll go back to your tubing. Yeah.
את יודעת את זה ואתה יודע את זה וגם אתה יודע את זה כולכם פה כל המערכת כשלה כל המערכת איך מחבל מקבל כסף ואני לא איך מחבל מקבל טיפול ואני לא יחידה לתגובות קרב 5 שנים אחרי שאני כבר כאילו מפגין שוחרר לא ידעתי שזה קיים אני מגיע אליהם אומרים לי לא המצב שלך כבר חמור מדי אנחנו לא יכולים לטפל בך גם להם קיבלתי סירוב
Yeah, and you know, poodles, we can try to convince ourselves we're badass. And you know, and you know, a lot of people probably wouldn't have that big of a deal if they were killing Hamas, you know, full-grown adults who were, you know, army soldiers in a war. But that's not what Israel is asking the IDF to do. Not in the Gaza Strip. Not in the Gaza Strip. That's what I'm wondering. What are you going to do with if the plan is, you know, what are you going to do with all the corpses? Where are you going to hold people temporarily as your, you know, they don't even have right now. They're just turning up the suffering dial to the max. They don't even have an idea of what's, you know, they're just like, well, let's see what happens. Maybe this problem will fix itself. If we just crank the suffering up to the max, and we apply total pressure and completely break their back, thousands, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands of starving men, women, and children. The bodies pile up. maybe this problem will just fix itself. Maybe they'll just they'll break through the Egyptian barrier and this problem will fix itself. I think right now that's kind of where they're at. They're kind of winging it. They're kind of winging it, from my opinion, but this is just my asshole opinion. So, bling, bling, war crimes, bling. There's one more in this video. Kind of reminds me of Hila, or Hila, Ethan and Hila. So the top of this video, you can't see the text. It says, female Israeli soldier explains how she copes with killing a Palestinian boy. And this is from 2007. Turning up the volume.
עכשיו על זה קשה. אותו זמן הייתי חושבת על זה מלא עכשיו רק צוחקים על זה. כמו שאפשר לצחוק. זה נהיה פשוט שם, כאילו, חלק ממני.
Yeah, Simply Steve, yeah. He's a genius.
אני מתקשרת לחברה שלי בצבא. סיוון, זה לא יורד. מה לא יורד, רותם? את לא...
Jesus. Talking about the blood, and all she's I don't know if she's being interviewed in an institution, but I certainly hope that she spent some time in one, because she clearly looks like she needs professional help. So, once again, I'm not showing this to be like, ha ha ha, it's going to come, you don't get to do this in a vacuum, and, the universe will abide, and, I'm not saying that. I just want to point out that there are consequences, to this kind of policy, and how much do you care about Bibi Netanyahu's political career? Is it worth this? Is it worth doing this to yourself? Bibi Netanyahu's political career? Because yes, this is absolutely connected. These actions, the aggressive stance that Bibi has taken is directly correlated to his political situation. Mehdi Hassan said this that was kind of interesting. What the hell is this? Where's my... No. This is an interesting video by Ozzy Man, by the way. Ozzy over here defending indigenous people. Good for you, Ozzy from Australia. He's the guy that does the reviews of the Brazilian newscaster, with her big booty. Yeah, exactly. F factor. So, once again, though, this is not me being trying to rub it in. I know some leftists are like that, but that's not what I was trying to do. Though some would probably say I was. Mehdi Hassan came out with this, and I thought, that's kind of an interesting point. So this is what he said here. While Biden could hardly step outside the White House during his last year in office without being confronted by pro-Palestinian activists, and Harris was frequently interrupted by protesters on the campaign trail, it is not going to notice that Trump rarely, if ever, faces a heckle. No demands are being made of him to call for a ceasefire. No threats are being made to ensure that the Arab Muslim voters who supported his campaign stay home or switch back in 2028. I have noticed that myself. I mean, maybe there's a good reason, though, because, if you speak out against, to the neoliberals, right, you're just gonna be kicked out by security. But if you speak out in a Trump rally, your ass is gonna get beat, right? Maybe there's a certain kind of fear about speaking, heckling Trump. But I do agree, though. It does feel one-sided. It's deserved. Have you seen the latest news from Joe Biden about Israel? Like he never talked about or forced a ceasefire He was kid gloves the whole way. He would be kid gloves, and then he would go back to his little office and steam and be all mad about how Bibi's not doing what he wants. Joe Biden, I swear to God, if I was the next president after Joe Biden, I wouldn't even build his fucking library. You know what I mean? Like, this man is a blip. This man is a nobody. This man achieved barely anything. Life support. He was life support. Yeah, because we got to get to Canada here, because that's what's happening right fucking now. Well, we'll see. Well, we'll see. Well, we'll see. Well, we'll see. I don't know. You know, they say it's not possible. They say it's impossible. And you know what I always say? Achieve the impossible. Turns the whole thing into a fucking motivational speech. And just real quick, though. France 24 did another truth or fake on the... And it's so funny, right? Because the person who's posting this in Al Jazeera is narrative that this is a false flag operation instead of just Islamic terrorism, right? So they're biased in their own way. But this segment that they're showing proves the opposite, that it's a bunch of lies, that this is a false flag operation, that there's really no evidence that this is some kind of real false flag operation. Because look, you don't need it's just like with Hamas, right? You don't need to like sit down in a smoky room and say, okay, you got to attack on this day. You know, you just kind of, foment it, allow it to exist. And eventually these dummies will commit some atrocity in the name of Allah. So and then they become useful idiots for authoritarianism, right? If you don't, you got to do something. We're under attack. And that's what Modi is doing, justifying his existing racism against Arab people. And I don't know. Is there going to be war? What do you think? Warren, do you think India versus Pakistan? Do you think that's going to happen? I don't know. I'm not so sure. War is expensive. You know what I mean? If you're gonna do it, you got to have everybody on board, and who's got your back.
Vedika Bahel joins us over by the bit board. Vedika, good evening to you. Following the deadly attack on tourists in Kashmir, already icy relations continue to get worse between India and Pakistan. But it's not just tensions on the rise. There's also a lot of misinformation escalating.
God damn it.
That's right, Mark. Since the deadly attack,
God damn it.
26 tourists in Pahalgam in Indian-administered Kashmir, social media has seen a surge in out-of-context and misleading content about this incident. And what I noticed is, in fact, a lot of it centers around the victims, or claiming to show victims of the attack. Now, the example I want to start with is this one here, this video of a couple dancing that I saw getting absolute massive views across social media. In fact, every social platform there was. It was, in fact, even shared by Indian news outlets, which means that it was very much seen across the country. But the video itself, if we have a look at that quickly, it shows a couple dancing with the beautiful backdrop, the scenic backdrop of the Pahalgam Valley. And the claim online is that this video shows the final moment. It's the last video ever taken of the late Lieutenant Vinay Narwal and his wife, who were tourists in Pahalgam during the time of the attack, where he tragically lost his life. But what I will say is that this video is totally misleading, because not only is it not the last video of the late lieutenants, it actually has no connection to them whatsoever, and the people that we see dancing in this video are very much alive. The couple themselves have now come to social media to speak their side of the story. They took to their Instagrams. They are AI, Ashish and Yashika Sherawat. They decided to debunk the claims.
And you could totally make a credible allegation that it's AI. Like, you're going to really have to dig deep, because AI. Have anyone seen that Elon Musk AI video? Some dude was like showing off his like AI webcam face, thing, and he was using a light. He was using a lamp to like change the direction of the light, and everything was working properly. The light looked, and he looked just like Elon Musk, man. This is like, you know, I'm not saying that this is, you know, fake, obviously, but it's just like it's becoming more and more credible to just say, oh, it's AI, right? To hand wave it away. And if you don't think the dummies are going to start doing that, you know, like welcome to the fucking, you know, welcome to the circus, man. Welcome to the fucking party, pal. You know what I mean? The dum-dums, right? Oh, everything's right, because what do they lean on now? Fake news, it's all fake. And now they can just go, oh, well, that was AI. Yeah, it was all AI. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that video of that Jeffrey Epstein video that finally leaked of Donald Trump getting a handy from a 14-year-old, totally fake, bro. It's AI. That's what I heard. I heard Tucker Carlson say that, bro. Oh, you know, Joe Rogan, he mentioned that, bro. He was like, something's up, bro. And I was like, yeah, bro, that's so true, bro.
Entirely. And they said that they are sending their heartfelt condolences out to the family and loved ones of the late lieutenant who died in that attack. But this is very much their video, and that's why they took it off the internet entirely. And they said that they were disturbed by the false claims being shared around it. They are very much alive. Now, to prove that it is their video, they also shared...
Oh, boy. I mean, do you understand the absurdity of that? They went on vacation to this beautiful valley, and they just did a stupid little TikTok dance, and that it was used as a psyop in a fucking terrorist attack, and they took down their fucking little dancing video. That's this is real life, guys. Okay, just reality check, okay?
AFP news agency the metadata of their video. Now, the video itself was taken about a week before that attack took place, but coincidentally, they shared it on the same day. And I think that's why maybe it surged in its viewership there. But in any case, it led them to delete it. Now, going back to the real victim whose name was being used here. Now, this person, the late Lieutenant Vinin, well, he has been identified in the attack, and his family has spoken out. So he has been confirmed as a victim of this tragedy. But we can see here that viral video is very much being linked to him.
And this is so funny. The video itself that we're watching is a psyop, because look at the text above. You're like, ha, this is France 24 proving that this is a false flag from India, because look, a bunch of people put fake images and are making a bunch of fake stuff on the internet. There's no connection. Anybody can do this now. Literally anybody for free. Like, you know, a lot of these image manipulation programs let you do it for free because they need that data to make their model better, et cetera, et cetera. You don't even need to pay for it. So literally any schmuck, anybody can do what's being described here. There's no evidence whatsoever that this is part of a concentrated effort to turn this into a false flag. There's plenty of images, definitely not AI generated, of people straight up dead. And I've shown 2 videos of, you know, people, the guy on the zip line, you know, hey, I'm on the zip line having a good bow, bow, bow. I mean, you can hear the shots ringing throughout the whole valley. So it's not a false flag. So it's actually fascinating, this whole thing that's happening right now. It's like, you know, the whole situation is actually totally nuts. Because like I said, the video itself is being framed incorrectly, intentionally for propaganda purposes. Welcome to the fucking future, man. I mean, how are people, like, how is a normie 9-to-5er fucking Wheel of Fortune hockey fan supposed to fucking wade through this? You know what I mean? How? It's a barrage. It's a fucking attack on your brain, dude.
It is sharing his name out of context here, Mark.
Artificial intelligence inevitably takes a hold here. Images generated by AI also spreading, claim to show real-life victims of this tragedy.
That's right, Mark. I saw several examples of AI-generated content claiming to show the aftermath of this attack. For example, I saw this pair of photos either being shared together.
You don't even need to leave Twitter to do this. Hey, Grok, can you make me a fake image of a bunch of dead people? You know what I mean? Grok be like, no problem. Yeah, hey, Elon salute. Thanks, bud.
or individually as
Thanks
they
for
are
helping out
here.
the algorithm,
We
Sieg
can see
Heil.
bodies scattered across a scenic mountainous backdrop. We can also see the amount of views here.
Grok
This
will do
post
it for
alone has
free.
just 1 million itself. And I know it is difficult to see here, but there are some discrepancies in this picture that did kind of set some alarm bells ringing off for me. I know it is difficult to see with the resolution of the screen, but there was some proportions in the body parts. The nostrils are very uneven and wonky.
Oh my
The
God, and I just
proportions of the
realized-
people walking in the background. And
I just
should have
realized, no.
really...
And on top of all that, there's a financial incentive to do something like this during a tragedy on Twitter because you get financial compensation if your post does numbers. So not only has Elon Musk made it incredibly easy to make, he's literally designed his platform to do this. And people make money doing it if they're really clever and they do it really, really well. Well, that's mind-blowing. He's gamified and created a platform that encourages you and rewards you for making really, really clever and accurate propaganda that further confuses and gaslights everybody on seemingly anything.
The first clue was when I put the image itself through a reverse image search, and there was no results, no source footage for this whatsoever, no source data.
I know I'm smoking
but
weed,
just for good
guys,
measure,
but I mean,
did
wow, it's
check,
kind of blowing my
several
fucking mind a little bit.
AI detection tools, and every single one, the result was the same, that this is very much, both of these photos are AI generated. Now, the biggest giveaway, I think, let's just check, the biggest giveaway that was, that these were using AI was the Meta AI logo in the corner. I know it is difficult to see that. So it was there the whole time, but not every person that was sharing these photos, of course, was sharing that same version that hadn't cropped it out.
Is that why you built
now,
this,
I want to
Zach?
talk about another example of some AI images.
Is that
These
why
ones
you- is
slightly
that why you
more
built it?
disturbing. But this pair of photos has also been pretty regular on the internet as well that I could find relating to this
Great job.
attack,
Put
this
the
tragedy.
Facebook logo on that one.
And these are more evidently AI. We can see the artificial, the waxy-like quality of the skin. But I did put these through a detection tool as well, and they were 100% AI generated. Now, incidentally, the woman in this photo is supposed to show the real-life woman of the victim that we just talked about in our previous example, the Lieutenant Vinay Narwal. And the more disturbing part about these examples, Mark, is that they are actually based off a real-life photo, a photo that is being touted by Indian media as the symbol of this attack.
Great, so tasteful.
A real-life picture of her sitting there in the aftermath. But the fact...
And this picture is absolutely haunting because it just, you don't see any blood. And the picture was taken at just kind of an interesting time of with her face. So you can't see the grief on her face. And it just kind of looks placid, and it looks like, it just looks like a woman, next to her, husband or person that's, on the ground, they're just taking a rest or something, but he's stone cold dead. They were shooting people in the head, just point blank, blah, that, right there. And that's what you were hearing in those shots, from that absolutely tragic video. The two tragic videos that I showed of people vacationing, that's what you hear are these point blank executions that happened all over this beautiful valley. And like I said, just give Islamic extremists enough time, and they'll be useful idiots for your empiric desires,
The fact that someone has then taken that real photo to artificial intelligence and generated these beautified, these synthesized, these enhanced versions of this.
This kind of extremism is possible in all religions. I need to make that clear. I'm not a Sam Harris guy, but it has. This is there is a pattern. Are we going to sit here and deny that as well? One pattern that's pretty clear that isn't Islamic religious terrorism is like a lot of these mass shootings, right? Are there almost always some kind of flavor of Christianity? And oftentimes, like the guy who shot up the black grocery store, or the grocery store that predominantly had black people shop there, had all kinds of shit written across his gun. And I do believe that there was at least some pseudo religious, Christian style religious text of some sort, if I believe. We see Pete Hegseth with his tattoos, right? And previous statements about crusades and etc. So, religious zealots are always capable of this kind of stuff, but there is an interesting pattern where we see this kind of stuff happen quite a bit, and and quite frankly, I'm sick and tired of these useful idiots being so effective at allowing these tyrants like Modi and Bibi Netanyahu to do a little bait and switch. And it's not because it's not a false flag. No one is going to say Bibi Netanyahu like planned and helped Hamas execute October 7th, right? That's not how it worked, right? But there's plenty of evidence to show that Bibi Netanyahu had lots of previous warning that he like that something big was coming. And there was a lot of coincidences in terms of understaffing of certain regions that, that were attacked directly, et cetera, et cetera. But he didn't have to sit there and, sit there in the room and say, okay, Hamas, you're going to do this, and you're going to help my political career. They allow themselves to be turned into such useful idiots for tyrants. They really do. These Islamic extremists. Is this effective? I mean, come on. This helps Modi. This hurts Modi? This doesn't hurt Modi. Not at all. Not at all.
That is deeply bizarre and quite disturbing as well. But these are also being shared massively.
It's bizarre and disturbing. Welcome to social media.
Fallout of that tragedy as tensions continue to escalate between India and Pakistan. But in any case, Mark, we can see the impact of AI in these images as only to further fuel misinformation and to further escalate those tensions.
And now there's a financial incentive to do so. I guess it's not just now. I guess that's been the case for a little while. But I mean, damn, it's never been easier. It's never been easier, on Twitter to come up with some bullshit, have Grok whip something up or maybe Meta. And then, boom, you're making cheddar. Do I have to? Hey, would you guys prefer I just play video games for the next hour instead of talk about Donald Trump? Is that would you want to do that? You want to see my nasty feet? You want to see my disgusting feet instead? We could do that. We can feet reveal. You want to do a feet reveal? It's feet time. Come on, baby. Let's do it. No? Is anyone even here? Like no one even wants to watch you, dude. What are you talking about? No. Not only do people not want to see your feet, they don't want to see your show. I'm so glad I'm doing it. No, I don't care. I'd be doing this anyway because I got to talk about this stuff. So if no one wants to hear it, then no one wants to hear it. So this is fascinating. Mark Carney doing a meeting with Trump, and Trump just refuses to let go. He's like, nope, I'm actually ruler of the world now. I don't know if you guys figured that out. Thank you, YouTubing and Dundee. He's a horrified face. Okay. So that's a no. All right, that's a no. But anyway, Donald Trump literally doing his Canada one day will be the 51st state two-step. And honestly, I mean, I think I think people are going to need a little time to digest this. But honestly, I feel like Carney showed weakness here because, he does say, Canada is not for sale. And it's clearly like a scripted thing. He was ready to say it. And then Donald Trump's like, yeah, we'll see, motherfucker. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah, I'll let you talk. Talk, Taylor. Okay, all right. No, I mean we're okay. Is he done talking? Okay, no. Here's the reality of the situation. We'll see. Okay, because I mean it fits like a glove. Canada would really, the Canadian citizens would really benefit quite a bit from our tax policies, and people would love it. So, we're going to see. So, and Mark Carney that whole time is kind of sitting silently, and you know why? Because he didn't have his prepared fucking remarks for this one. And it shows a weakness. Because this is exactly what he should have said. It's only one word. He should have said never. He should have said blankly and flatly every time Donald Trump says, we'll see, because he says it a couple times and he does this little, two-step around it. He should have said never. Right, without any pause or anything, never. respectfully. You don't have to get loud. You don't have to get angry about it, but you can just state that unequivocally, without a doubt, without a shred of fucking doubt, we will never be the 51st state. Right. You can just say one word. And I think he missed this opportunity because he was ready with the Canada is not for sale shit. That's his canned remark. He was ready for that. He wasn't ready for Trump to double down, triple down. And once again, we're seeing the weakness of these teetotaling ex-banker, neoliberal, I like to listen to a self-righteous punk band. I really cut loose when I want to, man. Yeah, You'd have to have been following Canadian politics to know what the hell I'm even talking about. He does a celebration thing he did with anyway. So let's watch this. You tell me what you think. But honestly, in my opinion, I see weakness. I see a little bit of weakness after the statement because Trump doubles down on it. Look at this fucking clown. But he doubles down on it. Okay. The big cheese. Yeah. You big cheese. You got money? Can I have some? Can I have some money, please? I don't have any donations or anything set up, so you're just gonna have to you're gonna have to come to my house. Can you come to my house and give me some money? The big cheese. I know we just met. I don't mean to make things awkward, but I'm just, you seem wealthy. You seem rich. You seem like you have a lot of stuff happening and going on, and I don't know. I could just really use some of that money. Could you just give me some of that money and then leave? Anyway, Canada, folks.
I do feel it's much better for Canada, but
51st state. 51st state.
We're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that
hilarious. So that's I'm not going to ruin the deal by talking about 51st state, but I totally still believe 100% 51st state totally. But we're not talking about that today. What we're talking about is a fair and honest trade deal with my friend Canada Governor Mark Carney. Thank you so much, Governor, for being here. Now, no, of course, we're not going to talk about 51st state, but I totally 100% still believe that Canada, we're going to conquer Canada. It's going to happen, folks. It's going to happen. What can you do? So there you go. This little idiot's going to say something here really quick, and then I'll correct the record.
I do feel it's much better for Canada, but we're not going to be discussing that unless somebody wants to discuss it. I think that there are tremendous benefits to the Canadian citizens, tremendously lower taxes, free military, which honestly we give you essentially anyway because we're protecting Canada if you ever had a problem.
There are some places that are never for sale.
That's true.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But
what? Can you speak up? Can you speak up a little bit? I know it's Canada. I know you guys do things differently here. Okay. And maybe this is just me, but I'm pissed at Donald Trump. I'm fucking pissed at 51st state. I'm not annoyed, I'm not I disagree and I'm going to try to change that. I'm pissed. And this is probably just me, okay, but I'm not seeing that from Carney. I'm not seeing pissed. You know what I mean? I'm not seeing insulted. This isn't a discussion.
We're sitting in one right now, Buckingham Palace that you visited as well.
That's true.
And having met with the owners of Canada over the course of the campaign last several months, it's not for sale, won't be for sale ever. But the opportunity is.
Look at Trump's face. Oh, look at that. Look at it. God, he's the worst. He's the worst, and he can't help himself. Look at his face, dude. Look at zero in.
Ever. But the opportunity is in the partnership and what we can build together. We have done that in the past. And part of that, as the president just said, is with respect to our own security.
Time will tell. It's only time. But
time will tell. Time will tell. That's his response to Canada. Homie, you need to stand up that moment and walk out of the fucking room. And look at Carney take it, dude.
Is with respect to our own security.
Time will tell. It's only time. But I say never. I've had many things that were not doable.
And okay, and this is, I think this is him showing I'm insulted. This is the best we can get, bro. This is him, because like there's someone in the audience, someone in one of the fucking probably right-wing hacks laughs, and he's clearly thinking like he's like, okay, I can't, I'm not gonna smile because he you know, there's probably a part of him that's like, this is ludicrous. It's like totally ridiculous, and of course there's a part of you that'll be like, this is utterly ridiculous. But no, he doesn't want to smile, and he's like, no, the emotion that I need to be showing here is insulted. I think that's what we're seeing here.
Is with respect to our own security.
Time will tell. It's only time.
I'm focusing on Carney.
Never say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable.
Right. Interesting. You see the okay, look, I'm an amateur at the body language stuff, but you see the brushing of the leg. You can almost see him say, okay, like, okay, we're shifting gears here. I want this trade deal. I really need this trade deal. But I need to politically, I need to respond to this as well.
Never say never. I've had many things that were not doable, and they ended up being doable, and only doable in a very friendly way. But if it's to everybody's benefit, you know, Canada loves us and we love Canada. That's, I think, the number one thing that's important. But we'll see. I mean, over time, we'll see what happens.
Unbelievable, man. I mean, and then you got to be, come on, we need better than this.
Okay. Somebody drew that line many years ago.
Okay, so that's the latest live news, is that this has happened. In response, Trump's 51st state comments that Canada would never be for sale. Okay, so the media, you know, the media is framing this as like a very firm response. I don't see it. I don't see that. I want to. Okay, I'm gonna be listening very closely. I'm going to be listening very closely for analysis on this because, yeah, it was an astonishing watch. Okay, I want to watch this.
Well, our Washington correspondent, Simon Marks, has been monitoring this extraordinary meeting. Simon, this was surreal beyond belief, wasn't it?
It's unbelievable.
Absolutely surreal, Andrew. For 33 minutes, Donald Trump kept the made-for-TV show going, and you could see Mark Carney and the other members of his delegation absolutely itching to put it behind them so that they could get on with the...
No, they really were. This is the problem with neoliberals, okay? I mean, look, they know how to balance a budget. Good for you, okay? I need you to grow a nutsack. Okay? That's what we need. We need some chutzpah. What's China doing? How about a fucking order of, fucking yellow fuck you sauce? Nothing. You tariff us, we tariff you. Boom. You want to keep it that way? Goodbye economy. Americans have no idea what's coming to them, right? Because we're burning off fumes, right? Oh, there's still shit at Walmart for 75 cents or whatever. It's all coming to a head.
Serious, substantive conversation that the Canadians want to have with the US government about the future of Donald Trump's trade war and his tariffs. Time and again, after Mark Carney initially shut down the idea of Canada becoming America's 51st state, Donald Trump kept going back to the issue, kept being shut down by Mark Carney. At one point, a Canadian reporter in the room asked President Trump what concession he was looking for war from Canada,
tariffs.
to which he answered simply and rather confusingly, friendship. The reporter pointed out that friendship didn't feel like a concession. Surely friendship actually existed. That led to a riff about the importance of friendship between the two countries by the US leader. And the president was also asked whether there was anything that Mark Carney could do today that would result in the immediate alleviation of Canada's tariff burdens. And that reporter was told flatly by Donald Trump, absolutely not. It is what it is. Every indication that he is digging into a much more hostile relationship with Canada. The way was paved.
No, the reporter asked him, you know, so, okay, what kind of concessions? What does Canada have to do to get these tariffs lifted? Fucking nothing. Take it or leave it, bitch. And it's like, wait a minute. What? Okay, so then what are we even discussing then? You like, there's nothing. We're done. We're screwed. That's it. And it is woke as fuck. Donald Trump wants to do a friendship. He should do a fatality. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's just the worst. It's the worst. It's not even a funny joke, even if you get the reference.
For that 24 hours ago by his own Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, who was raging on the Fox Business Network about Canada's socialist governing tradition, even suggesting that the future of the US-Mexico-Canada free trade agreement is in doubt. And the president breathed his own air into that argument during the course of that meeting today. So after 33 minutes...
it is hilarious. Trump is posturing like he's got this shit totally on lock. His policies are rocking ass, and he's number one, and everyone else was wrong. All you needed was the proof, and look at this. I mean, it really is emperor with no clothes situation. I hate to use these hackneyed comparisons. Maybe it's because I'm a hack. So I don't have a closer example to give you, right? This is emperor with no clothes. Homie's walking around like he's Michael fucking Jordan, and the guy, you know, it's like he failed high school basketball. But the power and strength of America was so great, it takes a while to bring her down to her knees. But we're on our way, baby. It's happening.
They finally went behind closed doors. They're having lunch together at the White House. There is no joint press conference scheduled on this occasion between the two leaders. But again, the notion that the Canadian Prime Minister was being put through this reality TV hazing when all he wanted to do was go and get on with the business of diplomacy was agonizing to watch.
Yeah, it was.
So, Simon, just to bring people up to date.
It's actually fascinating that he continues to do these like public press gaggle, style kind of shakedowns with world leaders, that this continues to happen because, after the disaster of Zelensky, you would think there'd be some kind of change. And he's like, no, that was great. That was actually really, that was necessary. That was effective. We had to, get that out of our system. Now Zelensky knows where we really stand.
Where we actually are in terms of this trade war between the US and Canada, because during the election of Mark Carney, there was lots of fierce words were said, and before that, parts of Canada had imposed their own tariffs and threatened to jack up the price of energy and much else. Where are we now?
I didn't see a pimp slap.
Yeah, well, absolutely, and the fierce words continued. I mean, even while Mark Carney was preparing to head to the White House this morning, Donald Trump took to his social media account and insisted the United States needs nothing from Canada. An opinion that he voiced again with the Prime Minister flanked alongside him. President Trump insisting that Canada has a massive trade deficit with the United States that he says is tantamount to America subsidizing Canada, but there's nothing the United States needs. We don't need your cars. We want to make the cars here. We don't need your steel. We want to make the steel here. It all flies in the face of
this. I mean, if it worked in the way that it works in his head, this would be great negotiating, right? If he literally held all the cards like Trump claims he does, this would be great negotiating, right? But that's simply not the case. I predicted on Discord, I guess I should match this up with the stream, but I think this week we're going to have the market bump that is like this is the official start of the recession. I mean, or would the official start always be just the second quarter results? Because isn't a recession officially 2 down quarters in a row? So that would always be the official recession. So maybe that will be. But I feel like this week we should. I don't know. I feel like something's gonna happen on the market. We're gonna get a big dip here. The logistics companies, the freight companies, are ringing the warning bell. I saw an advertisement on TikTok. I don't watch TikTok, but it was a TikTok video uploaded to Reddit, etc. But I saw an advertisement on TikTok from China talking about we'll discount the travel expense for you to fly out to China and shop directly in their clothing stores. And they were like, you could get a shirt for either $55 or $6 if you fly out here. They're like, we'll give you a discount on your air flight, your ticket. What I'm trying to, by pointing those things out, I'm trying to tell you that there's some early warning signs that I think this week are going to affect the stock market. But what the fuck do I know?
Reality, as we discovered when the Premier of Ontario threatened to cut energy exports to the United States, a move that, had he followed through on it, would have left major parts of the northeast of the United States without power, literally in the dark. But this is what Mark Carney, now Prime Minister, is having to deal with.
So it is perfectly possible that this is going to get much uglier before
if you don't know what this guy just said, there's parts of the United States that depend directly on Canadian power, like directly. And they're, Doug Ford has talked about, we might have to shut off the electricity if we're going to take it this far, and that could leave Americans straight up in the dark because I don't know if they have backups. They might have to build a power plant or something, and that it takes more than 5 seconds to do that. I don't know. People be thinking magic exists and stuff now. I don't know what to say to them.
Gets any better. I wonder if at some point somebody's going to lean across in the Oval Office and hand President Trump a copy of Adam Smith's The Wealth of Nations.
YouTube video of that.
Well, the person most likely to do that is his Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent, who, while this meeting was taking place at the White House today, was giving testimony on Capitol Hill and was stumbling in attempting to justify the trade war to members of Congress. He also pulled the rug out from his own president because, under oath, remember, he testified that there were no negotiations taking place between the United States and China. And President Trump has repeatedly in recent days indicated that direct talks were underway between those two countries, despite the fact that China has denied it. So Donald Trump found out by that event up on Capitol Hill this morning, even as he was preparing to sit down with Canada's new leader.
Well, the way things are going, it seems to me that American politics...
Honestly, I think Carney should have left. I think Carney should have... I mean, maybe not during the meeting, but I think he should have said, "We're not having a discussion. I'm gonna leave early," and just not had any kind of because this participating in this farce with Donald Trump. But I mean, it really does show, how important. Just getting some kind of deal, and then just letting him ramble and ramble and ramble about this 51st state stuff, knowing how absurd it is, because he knows what's on the horizon. He's a banker. He understands money better than all of us here in the chat, probably. Like, he used to be a central banker in the UK during Brexit. He was against it, by the way. Thank God.
Needs a kind of global translator, and I think you're doing a very, very good job indeed, Simon. Thanks so much.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was very informative. I will say that. Anything else? I don't know. Anything. I'm begging for an answer of what Carney is going to do here. I don't know if. I know the deal is important, but wait. Carney holds presser.
Next question.
Oh yes, yes. Fucking yes. I'm rock hard. Okay, what has he got to say about this? Oh my God. I've never been more excited for a fucking Poindexter to say some shit. Holy shit. Okay, hold on. You see, if this was Vosh, one of you sycophants would have given this to me. Right? I gotta find it myself. I gotta fucking work. Come on, man. Come on. Don't you want to be my best friend? All right, here we go. And now so are a bunch of us too. This is he's got to respond to the 51st state shit, man. Come on. We live in a world that makes sense. Okay? I refuse to accept otherwise.
Good afternoon, everyone. Bonjour tout le monde. Aujourd'hui, j'ai eu la première d'une série de réunions visant à établir une nouvelle relation. Today is leaders of Canada et les États-Unis.
Okay. Sorry, Canadian leaders need to speak in both French and Canada, and they will switch between them. They usually just say this almost the same exact thing, just in the different language. Okay, I'll do my best to kind of skip through it if he starts saying stuff in French. Okay, boom.
President Trump and I met today.
This is live, no closed captioning.
Sovereign, independent nations, and I want to thank the president and the members of his cabinet that attended for welcoming me and my colleagues to the White House and for our very constructive discussions.
Perfect timing with the fucking sirens.
I conveyed to the president today what our countries have long proven to be true, that Canada and the United States are stronger when we work together. We can get a better deal for our workers. We can create more opportunities for our businesses. We can build stronger economies across North America when we work together. And really today marked the end of the beginning of a process of the United States and Canada redefining that relationship of working together. The question is how we will cooperate in the future, how we can build an economic and security relationship built on mutual respect, built on common interests.
Oh, come on, you pussy.
And that delivers transformational benefits to our economies.
The fuck is this?
We had what I would describe as wide-ranging and, as I said a moment ago, very constructive discussions. We agreed to have further conversations in the coming weeks, and we are looking forward to meeting in person at the G7 summit in Canada.
This sucks.
Now, while that's going on in Canada, we will focus on what we can control. Alors, demain, je réunirai avec les premiers ministres pour un appel afin de faire le point sur les conversations du travail at home. We are going to reinforce our strength at home. We will reinforce Canada's security for an increasingly dangerous and divided world. We will transform
changes
our border
nothing.
security,
Changes another
Arctic,
fucking Keir Starmer over here, man. Because you know
for-
what? You know what? Doug Ford would have pivoted at least a little bit, man. This guy, it's stick straight to the fucking script. Straight to the fucking script. Not a thing changed.
Our ally. We'll build an
He
economy
spit
that
in
creates
your
jobs,
face, sir.
grows incomes, and withstands shocks. When, in fact, the strongest economy in the G7.
Oh my
An economy
God!
that
Whatever.
works for everyone. Nous allons bâtir une économie canadienne renouvelée.
Whatever,
où tous
bro.
peuvent réussir dans un monde qui
Yes, student.
les infrastructures
Yeah.
qui permettront à nos
Big fans of
entreprises
Barstool
nous allons
Sports.
bâtir une seule. And we can give ourselves far.
You know, I'm a big fan of Dave Portnoy, who calls his grown female employees honey and girl, and says, you know, speaking to him, even the very action of speaking to him is such an honor that he was totally insulted to his core that she would demand a callback in 20 minutes because she was at a dance recital, either her own or possibly her child. Oh man, I was ripping pissed yesterday after watching. I keep thinking about it, dude. That because you know he wants to bring it back, right? He wants to bring back the Mad Men style. Hey, honey, how you doing? Slapping chicks on the ass and grabbing and groping. You know that's what he wants. He wants to drag us back to that shit. And you know, I make the argument that if we create a society free enough, equal enough, straight men can enjoy sexual titillation again, right? Because everyone's on defensive, right? We're slut shaming now. I thought we liked sluts. I don't even know what's going on anymore. And it's like, if we stop with the fucking nonsense, we can have some sexual liberation again. Okay? They don't even get it. They don't even get it, okay?
We're
I still
masters
do.
in our own home.
Yeah.
And we can give ourselves far more than any foreign government
They
can
don't
ever
get
take
it.
away. So now is the time to build, and based on the discussion today, to build at home
Free
and to
the
build with our
sluts.
partners abroad, including the United States. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much, and I look forward to your questions.
Here we go.
Thank you, Prime Minister. We'll now begin the press conference. We'll begin with
Here we
questions
go.
from the traveling delegation. First question, première question.
Good afternoon, Prime Minister Tonda McCharles, Toronto Star. I was watching your face through the meeting in the Oval Office.
Oh, here we go.
And I wondered what was going through your mind when the President talked about erasing the artificial border
real.
and how he criticized your predecessor and Madam Freeland.
Yes, Lenny, yes.
Thank you for your question. I'm glad that you couldn't tell what was going through my mind as that was going through.
And he doesn't get it. That's actually very telling. I'm glad that you weren't able to tell what's going through my mind. You know, Canadians are actually maybe this is just me. Am I the only person living in Canada ripping pissed at Donald Trump, flagrantly questioning our sovereignty? Okay. Oh, I'm really glad you weren't able to tell how what I was feeling. Classic neoliberal, bro. We're in for it, man. We're in for it, dude. Okay. This guy better be good. This guy better really straight up bring the ching ching on home because this. Man, I'm so sick of this. I'm not a fan of Doug Ford's progressive conservatism. My dick. Okay. We all saw how corrupt he's been. Welcome back, Davey. But goddamn, does he know how to actually respond properly to Donald Trump? He's seemingly the only Canadian politician willing to really step up the rhetoric.
Thank you,
Vancouver.
for your question. I'm glad that you couldn't tell what was going through my mind as that was going through. With respect to the first point, the President has made known his wish about that issue for some time.
Come on.
I've been careful always to distinguish between wish and reality. I was clear there in the Oval Office, as I've been clear throughout on behalf of Canadians, that this is never going to happen. Canada is not for sale. It never will be for sale. Some things, as I said in the room, some things are never for sale. And he agreed with that. I distinguish between the two. And then with respect to the importance of reestablishing a constructive relationship for negotiations of a partnership, of an economic and security partnership, which is what.
So it's pretty clear what's happening here. He knows damn well what was said after those comments. He knows damn well the statements that have been made between after that meeting and up to this point. He knows damn well what the hell's going on here. But the trade deal is just too damn important. He understands that the longer, even by weeks, if you delay these trade deals, it hurts Canadian businesses. Canadian businesses will have to fire employees. This is a tough one.
We were here for. I look forward, not back, and I think we established a good basis today.
What gives you specifically any indication that the President is willing to renegotiate a new trade deal with you and drop tariffs?
Apart from the fact that he said that he would, is willing to have that negotiation, I think that's the main thing. That doesn't presuppose the outcome of the negotiation. As I've emphasized, it's a complex negotiation. There'll be zigs and zags, difficult aspects to it. But the prospect is there. We discussed it in more detail. And as I said a moment ago, we'll be following up, both between officials, but also he and I in the coming weeks. Thank you.
No, sorry, no, we're going to stick to the line. Thank you. Thank you. Bonjour, Monsieur Carney.
Okay, look, the first question that's likely going to be asked of Donald Trump, in his next big TV interview or something, press conference, whatever, is, do you think Canada should still be the 51st state? And he's going to basically say yes. So Carney must be making a conscious decision here that he's going to allow Donald Trump to talk shit, and he's always just going to say, you know, it's ridiculous, we're sovereign, that's never going to happen. When asked about it, well, it's pretty important. The economic situation, because look, there's things that these guys aren't telling us. And they're like, well, you know, there's a chance that the 5 children can find each a magic ring and form together to form a magic man named Captain Planet who's going to save everything and make everything much better. There's actually a chance that could happen. But there's a reality that they're not telling us about, and that's why he's doing this. Because if he was in a more advantageous economic situation, he would probably be able to respond more positively. But he simply needs to get a document signed, and I think that's what he's prioritizing.
Quand il a été question de quelque chose,
C'est
que
on verra.
During the meeting in the Oval Office, the president, when talking about the tariffs and talking about a deal, also made very clear that when it comes to autos, his goal is to have car makers make them in the U.S. and for the tariffs to not make any economical sense to be made in Canada anymore. Do you anticipate lifting tariffs on autos at any point? And what did you tell him in the room about that topic?
Well, we had discussion about all the major
maybe
issues
in Ukraine. That's what you need,
room, so to speak, in the lunch afterwards, including autos, and specifically, without going into the full details, the strategic position of the North American auto industry, or more specifically, the Canadian-U.S. auto industry, versus foreign competition, including from Asia, and how that could be enhanced.
This is all about the trade deal.
The Canadian government, and I would say the Canadian auto industry, I would actually say the auto industry as a whole, is of the view.
Peace and love. I'm just going to leave you alone for a little bit. Go ahead and I give you free reign to be insufferable for 5 to 10 minutes in my chat. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and give you the benefit of the doubt. Go ahead. Go nuts. Just be as insufferable as possible without judgment for 10 minutes.
That Canada, Canadian auto workers, Canadian auto companies,
welcome back, Meat Shield,
Canadian steel, Canadian aluminum, all play an important role in enhancing the competitiveness of American auto companies. So we will continue.
Great. Okay, so we get it. Okay, I'm not doing any more of this. There you go. That's I don't know. Okay, look, the Canadian press is going to be all about the Canada is not for sale line. RTP rate. Yeah, what's up? 70 viewers. What? Holy shit. Oh my God. Hold on. Hold on. We're serious, but it's an emergency. This is an emergency. Oh my God. Serious business. Hold on. We got to get news. We got the news code. Okay, hold on. No, we're serious. Okay, don't leave. Hey, serious business here. Hold on. News. We do news. Hey, how you doing? Oh, my God. Oh, thankful. Oh, so thankful. Thank God. Oh, thank Jesus. Thank God. Okay, we got the news code. Okay, here we go. Hi. Hey. All right. Hey. Wow. Okay. Wow. Hey. I just wanted to thank, my mother, I just wanted to say to everybody, I couldn't done it without you. And it's just, I had a speech, but I don't know, I lost it. No, welcome everybody. This is the motherfucking News Underground. All right, I gotta thank you for the follows, everybody. Thank you for the follows. I gotta tell you what this is. This is the motherfucking News Underground. We're in the politics section for a reason. We're not in just jacking off. My name's Abandoned Nihilism. I'm the realest motherfucker you've ever witnessed on Twitch. I guarantee it. And what we do is real news. We do real news in this motherfucker. That Discord link doesn't work because I'm an idiot. Let me get a real invite for you. Takes time. I don't know how to do this. How do you do it? Invite people. There we go. Only it's not a normal. Okay, that doesn't work either. Okay, never mind. Whatever. You don't need the Discord. Who gives a shit? We just got done talking about Canadian politics. Now we're going to move on to something else, probably headlines. So it's good. It's actually a good time to get in here. Going to do some headlines. Stick around. Thank you for the follows, everybody. Izzy Banana, RZ Mom. I can't go through it all. I only have a half hour left. I got 20 minutes left before I got to pick up my kid from daycare. Because I'm real like that, bitch. I'm real like that. Yeah, taking my motherfucking kid to the motherfucking daycare. You know that shit. You know that shit. So it's a good time. So he's not letting go of the 51st state shit. He's not letting it go. And Mark Carney is making a strategic decision with his rhetoric, right? Mark Carney was making a very strategic decision. Would PP be much different? He would probably be, I don't know. I think him and Trump might see eye to eye more. So, but I don't think so. Because like Trump thinks, here's the thing is that Trump foundationally has a complete misunderstanding of what tariffs are. He thinks tariffs are a magic money machine. He thinks this, like it's not just a lie that he constantly tells people. He thinks a tariff is on the other country and the other country is going to pay that. He does not identify it as a tax. He gets all mad and he poops his diapers when you point that out. So that's why he's holding fast on the tariff policy, because he's like, we have a trade deficit with you. You're making more money off us, so it's a way to get some of that money back for free. Just free money. That's what he thinks. Oh, I know. Yeah, his face was pretty wild. Thank you again for the follows, everybody. Thank you. You're free to leave. This is actual news. This is actual information. This isn't for you. I'm in politics. This isn't I'm your best friend and I'm going to jerk you off all day. No, this is actual news in your face. It requires a kind of stamina that most people can't handle. So it's okay. Go ahead and close that tab. I get it. It's not for you. It's for the real ones. It's for the real motherfuckers. No foot pics. One of these days. That's what we live for, yeah? Oh, we'll see. We'll see, Izzy Banana. You seem nice. You seem nice. I would hate to show you something that would wreck your beautiful innocence. Reporter, what's your expectations for your meetings with the Canadian Prime Minister tomorrow? I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. And once again, like I'm not going to make a deal. I'm not going to lift the tariffs because why would I give up free money? It's just money. It's free money, guys. It's just that's how it works, guys.
What's your expectation for your meeting with the Canadian Prime Minister tomorrow?
I don't know. He's coming to see me. I'm not sure what he wants to see me about, but I guess he wants to make a deal. Everybody does. They all want to make a deal because we have something that they all want. Bitch. We have something that they all want. China wants to make a deal very badly. You see what's happening to China. China's being decimated, and I don't want that to happen.
He doesn't want that to happen, guys. He's such a nice guy. He really is. He's so great. He's so good. Such a nice guy. He does kind of look like a hostage. He's such a nice guy, and that's this Trump fella. So yeah, I mean, he's just just the greatest deal maker in the world. He's just this good.
I'm gonna come.
Then the crowd is my favorite part of that clip. But no, Aaron over here just pointing out. Aaron doesn't even need to do anything, but just literally quote reality. He literally doesn't even need to add commentary for him to like have banger tweets anymore. But okay, so here's just literally quote for quote what happened. Reporter asking, is there anything Carney can say to you in the course of your meeting today that gets you to lift tariffs on Trump or tariffs on Canada? Trump says, no. Nope. Literally nothing. Literally nothing. I don't even know why he's here. He said he wants to make a deal. We're not making any deals. Reporter asks, why not? That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. That's just the way it is. Oh, yeah. Then he slapped Carney on the shoulder and he said, right. Fuck your country, right? Am I right? I mean, fuck Canada, right? So just going back to some statements that he made previously, we covered a little bit of this, but this is shocking, you know, because I pointed this out. It's like, how come the reporter from Meet the Press there, whatever the fuck her name is, didn't go, but sir, it's your oath. You've taken this oath twice. But no, just Captain Mark Kelly here, who I'm not the biggest fan of, but whatever. He points out the last 9 words of his oath of office were literally protect and defend the Constitution of the United States, and he's 100% correct here. Because he was asked, so do you believe in the Constitution? Do you believe in due process? Do you agree? You know, your Secretary of State says everyone who's here, citizens and non-citizens, deserve due process. Do you agree? And that is, of course, because the Constitution says people and not citizens when pertaining to the law here. And he goes, I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. We're looking into it. And what he's talking about, it's just amazing, right? Just a total ignoramus to give away the game like this. But what he's talking about is, you know, what I've pointed out many times is that they're not going to, you know, like try to pass some constitutional amendment. You just reinterpret the Constitution. Well, the Constitution actually says, you know, you're my slave. You know, I've just reinterpreted everything, and, you know, and so that's, you know, we just reinterpret it. So that's all you need to do. You don't need to change the law. You don't, you know, and if things get in the way, you underfund them. You destroy the institution, you know, just by starving it on the vine. You don't need to close the institution. You just make it impossible for the institution to do its job, right? And then whatever you can't change, you just reinterpret. So we're looking into it. We're looking into the right kind of lie that we can tell you to get away with this. You know, we're kind of focus grouping a couple lies. That's really, you know, it's really hot one. We got a hot one about a Martian coming down and then saying that the Constitution's different. But, you know, that one was fun. But we're really looking into just maybe reinterpreting it, and then if you get in the street and march in the street, we're gonna kill you or something. You know, who knows? You know, we're kind of spitballing how we want to do it. Speaking of which, if you want to die in the streets fighting against the Trump regime, I encourage you to join us. Here is the big list of protests: theblop.org. theblop.org. Make sure you're checking out theblop.org if you actually want to change the world to make it a better place. My name is Abandon Nihilism. It isn't have sex with nihilism. Sorry, I tried the name out. It didn't work. Twitch said no. All right. It's a pretty good name, but didn't work out, so I had to go with Abandon Nihilism. But if they didn't say so many violent things, hey, peace and love, shut the fuck up. Can you do me a favor? Can you just shut the fuck up for me? Appreciate it. Thanks. So anyway, make sure you check out theblop.org. Folks, the solution to the problems that we're experiencing, it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. The solution is called nonviolent direct political action, aka political activism. We inform ourselves. That's step 1. It's a step 3 process. It's a 3-step process. We inform ourselves, we sign up and show up, and then we put in the work like Charlie Kirk, bitch. We have to work harder than the fascists to defeat the fascists. We have to work harder than the fascists to defeat the fascists. Fucking Steve Bannon's working on weekends, okay? He's not taking a break. He's sacrificed everything, friends, family. He has sex exclusively with prostitutes and drinks whiskey instead of water, okay? If his final dying breath is choking Lady Liberty, he dies a happy man. He dies a happy man. Oh, it's hilarious, huh? It's funny. Ha ha, funny, huh? It's only your motherfucking future and the future of your children getting robbed from you. Is that is that funny to you? No, I know. You guys are laughing at the Steve Bannon jokes. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, yeah, you think I'm funny like a clown, huh? Like, ha-ha funny. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, here's my clown nose, huh? Good movie. Anyway, make sure you're checking out the Blop one more time. There's the link. Go to the Blop. If you're not going to the Blop, you're not cool, okay? And I also need to mention, I'm also trying to spread a big lie. I'm just trying to lie overtly like the right wing is. So just go along with me on this one and make sure you tell your friends. It's practically a guarantee that you're going to have sloppy, wet sex orgies if you go to protests. Look, it's just a fact. You might not, maybe you haven't been to a protest, but it's actually 100% guaranteed that you will at least get a handy if you show up to any protest. I'm talking any protest right here. This one, monthly rally, that's probably disrespectful. Probably shouldn't make fun of that one. MAGA billionaire blockade. I guarantee you a wet handy if you go to the billionaire blockade in New York, New York, okay? We're just going to lie to people like the right wing does now, okay? That's the thing that we're doing now, okay? We're going to find crazy lies, and we're just going to repeat them. They do butt stuff. 100% do butt stuff. What are you talking about? No one's kink shaming. No one's kink shaming. Butt stuff at the protests. Make sure you show up May 8th. Butt stuff at the Change the World protest. Rally to support Ukraine and have butt stuff for people with autism. Not butt stuff with people with autism unless, of course, they're into it. If you want, consent. But no, wet sloppy orgies at the protests. Wanted to show this tweet because sometimes you nail it. Gary Alexander, 100%. Here's him posting Babe Ruth calling the home run, and this is what he said. And look at the date. Look at the date. Not saying anyone should, but I bet you could convince Trump to reopen Alcatraz in under 20 minutes. So I just wanted to congratulate Gary Alexander here. I mean, when you nail it, folks. And he Babe Ruth that motherfucker right there. Out of the park. Out of the park. Congratulations, Gary Alexander, for being far too plugged into the internet. I encourage you to go take a hike. Go. There's probably a beautiful park in your vicinity that you could be walking through. You have done it. You have won the internet, sir. You have achieved internet greatness. You did it. This is the goal of the internet. This is the goal of social media. This is the final boss. You've done it. You've completed the game. My hat's off, m'lady. So this is hilarious. He's like, all of a sudden they talk about I got to follow the Constitution. I mean, can you believe it? Can you believe it over here? I can't believe it. All of a sudden they're talking about I got to give everyone due process. Can you believe this stuff? I'm trying to kick millions of brown people out of this country, including this woman behind me. I am trying to kick every single brown person I see out of this country. Okay, I'm not racist. And they're trying to tell me I got to give everyone a trial? Are you crazy? This is totally out of the blue. No one explained this to me, okay? And quite frankly, the fact that no one explained this to me, it's kind of your fault. So I'm just going to kind of keep going here. You guys go ahead to Constitution. You guys go ahead, take a Constitution, okay? Because we're gonna go ahead and get this done. I'm gonna deport millions of innocent people, dump them into countries they've never been to in their lives, and I'm not gonna let some judge get in the way, okay? We're just going to make this happen. They spring it on you. They spring it on you over here. The wokesters with your Constitution. Oh, I took an oath. Yeah, okay. I took an oath to take a dump. That's what I did.
The courts, because the courts have all of a sudden, out of nowhere, they said, maybe you have to have trials. Trials. We're going to have 5 million trials.
Oh, my God.
Work.
5 million? 10
you
million?
wouldn't have a country left. But hopefully the Supreme Court will save it. But what they've done is a very, very serious thing.
Yeah. Hopefully the Supreme Court will let me unilaterally, without, because Scott Jennings was asked the question, hey, how do we know who's innocent? How do we know? Snowmo Bro Pro, has that happened? I wanted to show you this. Kash Patel spotted in nightclubs more than work. And this is pretty common when you see characters like this get into huge positions of power. You know, he's probably living it up, you know, big baller stuff. When he should be, of course, doing his job. He should be a serious professional, but he's actually just a total clown. So just an indicator of how bad the situation is. But, you know, like we needed any more evidence that Donald Trump, you know, doesn't know how to hire, you know, the proper people to do their job. I wanted to show the first 3 minutes of this video from TYT Sports. I rarely show this guy. I don't think I've ever shown this guy actually, but this video was on point because he shows some clips of Stephen Miller that I haven't seen before, and they are shocking. Okay, I really only have time for one more though. Do I want to waste it on a TYT video? Oh, I wanted to talk about this. Yo, this was hilarious. Yo, okay, hold on. I got time for this one. So listen to this tweet. Suddenly just remembered. I had no idea about this. Tell me if you didn't know about this. Let me know. But no, this is hilarious. Suddenly just remembered that the Dilbert guy married an Instathought who immediately disappeared into an Instathought-shaped cloud of dust going meep meep as soon as her 2-year prenup pension was vested. Queen. Okay. I'm going to say something extremely controversial, and I want to apologize to the women in my audience because you deserve better. So I apologize for saying thought, but I'm just going to say something, and then I'm going to move on. Worth it. Totally fucking worth it, bro. Fucking worth it, bro. Ah! Totally worth it. Totally. I'm sorry. Look, must be nice. Look, I'm happily married. I'm super married. Okay, I tattooed my wedding ring to my finger. Okay, I'm super married. No Insta thoughts for me. Okay. Worth it. She looks like a fine young woman. Slay Queen. It's of course I'm super happy that she did that, right? But I'm also saying like it's totally like I don't know. People are like, "Oh, burn," you know. It's like, "What?" I don't know. I probably shouldn't encourage this, you know, mentality for older men to seek out younger women. I know that's not healthy. I don't know what to say about it though to the women in my audience, right? Cuz like it's weird, man. It's like it doesn't go away. It just gets worse. The horniness, you know what I mean? It just gets worse and worse. It sucks. Sucks. It doesn't go away. So I, you know, when women, you know, when young women make a lot of money online, you know. All right, that's basically all the time that I have. I got some other stuff here, some other headlines, but I'm basically out of time. Yeah, peace and love. I totally agree with that statement. Israel doesn't want peace, though. Israel is currently conquering the Gaza Strip. You don't. From your statement there, it doesn't sound like you believe that Israel is conquering the Gaza Strip. Hey, Lenny, no problem. And hey, folks, if you're watching this, if you like my content, you're really going to love Lenny's. Make sure you follow Lenny as well. Check him out. He streams quite often. Very wise man. Make sure you check him out. Did his backroom deal with the devil come to light? B-Ree, no problem. Thank you for coming in, B-Ree. I do appreciate it. Thank you for that follow. Hope you enjoyed the News Underground. I'm going to try. I guess I should really, you know, do some more regular streams than just Saturday because there's so much news. It's really hard to keep up with everything. But yeah. Dundee. Big props to everybody here. Simply Steve, Lenny, of course, Meat Shield, Soviet Mind, Tisfrio, Student Dead, Your Tubing. You guys rock. Trailhead, Snowmo Bro Pro. Kimmy the Dog Mom, that woke ass Fifth Amendment, dude. The Fifth Amendment straight up woke, bro. I got a 6 episode course that you can pay me $10.99 to learn how about how woke the Fifth Amendment is and how you need to give up your constitutional rights to be free. Okay? So just give me $10.99 a month. I'll make 6 videos. I'll fart them out. And then you get access to those 6 videos, $10.99 a month. Just go ahead and sign up to that. Forget you do it and just leave it billing your credit card indefinitely. Just because I'm lurking. You lurking, boy. Get a good lurk in. I love lurking. Sometimes I wait. I wait to just wait. Right? That's the exercise routine that I follow. The Glurin way. The proper way. The Glurin way. Sarcasm's on point here. What sarcasm? But do we get a pillow with purchase? Everyone gets a pillow with their purchase of 1 ass beating. It's a novelty pillow with my face on it. Thank you for the follow. All right, folks. I got to go pick up my kid from daycare. Spin the news underground. Keep it real. Peace in that motherfucking Middle East, and glory to the Ukrainian democracy. We'll see you next time.